टॉयलेट होता था, अब तो हमारे घर में टॉयलेट है। तो एक सामाजिक प्रतिष्ठा का भी विषय बन गया है। किसी को मुफ्त इलाज मिला है, किसी को मुफ्त राशन मिला है, किसी को गैस कनेक्शन मिला है, किसी को बिजली कनेक्शन मिला है, किसी का बैंक खाता खुला है, किसी को पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि पहुंच रही है, किसी को पीएम फसल बीमा का लाभ मिला है, किसी को पीएम स्वनिधि योजना से सहायता मिली है, किसी को पीएम स्वामित्व योजना के जरिए प्रॉपर्टी कार्ड मिला है। यानी मैं योजनाओं के नाम अगर बोलूंगा, जब मैं देख रहा था हिंदुस्तान के हर कोने में चीजें पहुंची है। देश भर के गांव में करोड़ों परिवारों को हमारी सरकार की किसी न किसी योजना का जरूर लाभ मिल रहा है। और जब ये लाभ मिलता है ना, तब एक विश्वास बढ़ता है। और विश्वास एक छोटी लाभ मिल गया, जिंदगी जीने की नई ताकत आ जाती है। और इसके लिए उन्हें किसी सरकारी दफ्तर में बार बार चक्कर लगाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी। भीख मांगने की जो मनस्थिति रहती थी वो गई। सरकार ने लाभार्थियों की पहचान की और फिर उन तक लाभ पहुंचाने के लिए कदम उठाए। तभी आज लोग कहते हैं कि मोदी की गारंटी, यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी। मेरे परिवारजनों, विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा ऐसे लोगों तक पहुंचने का बहुत बड़ा माध्यम बनी है, जो अब तक सरकार की योजनाओं से नहीं जुड़ पाए। इसे शुरू हुए अभी 1 महीना भी नहीं हुआ है, 2-3 हफ्ते हुए हैं, लेकिन ये यात्रा 40,000 से ज्यादा ग्राम पंचायत और कई शहरों तक पहुंच चुकी है। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है कि इतने कम समय में अब तक 1.25 करोड़ से अधिक लोग
आ गया है।
मोदी की गारंटी वाली गाड़ी तक पहुंचे हैं, उसका स्वागत किया है, उसको समझने का प्रयास किया है, उससे जुड़ने की कोशिश की है, उसको सफल करने का काम किया है। लोग इस गारंटी वाली गाड़ी का आभार प्रकट रूप से कर रहे हैं, स्वागत कर रहे हैं। और मुझे बताया गया है कि कई जगहों पर कार्यक्रम शुरू होने से पहले ही कई तरह की गतिविधियां पूरी की जा रही है। यानी मैं देखता हूं कि ऐसे कार्यक्रम को, जिसके साथ कोई बड़ा नेता नहीं है, सिर्फ भारत को आगे बढ़ाना है, हमारे गांव को आगे बढ़ाना है, हमारे परिवार को आगे बढ़ाना है, सरकारी योजनाओं का लाभ लेकर के आगे बढ़ना है। इतने से एक संकल्प के लिए ये गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पहुंचने से पहले गांव वालों ने जो काम किया, वो जो जानकारियां मुझे मिली, वो तो जैसे कुछ गांवों में एक सप्ताह तक बड़ा स्वच्छता अभियान चलाया कि भाई चलो मोदी की गारंटी वाली गाड़ी आने वाली है, पूरा गांव लग गया स्वच्छता के अभियान में। कुछ गांवों में मुझे बताया गया कि सुबह 1 घंटा प्रभात फेरी कर रहे हैं, गांव-गांव लोग जागृति सुना रहे हैं। कुछ जगह पे स्कूलों में जो प्रार्थना सभाएं होती हैं, तो वहां जो जागरूक टीचर है, उन्होंने विकसित भारत क्या है, आजादी के 100 साल होंगे तब तक कैसे आगे बढ़ना है, ये बच्चे तब 25-30 साल के 35 साल के हो जाएंगे, तब उनका भविष्य कैसा होगा, इन सारे विषयों की स्कूल में चर्चाएं कर रहे हैं आजकल। ऐसे जागरूक जो शिक्षक है, वो भी लोगों को शिक्षित कर रहे हैं। और स्कूल के बच्चों ने गारंटी वाली गाड़ी के स्वागत में कई गांवों में बढ़िया रंगोलियां बनाई है। कुछ लोगों ने कलर वाली रंगोली नहीं बनाई, तो गांव के फूल पत्ते पौधे लेकर के, कहीं सूखे पत्ते से और हरे पत्ते जोड़ करके बहुत बढ़िया बढ़िया रंगोलियां बनाई है। अच्छे नारे लिखे लोगों ने, कुछ स्कूलों के अंदर नारे लिखने की स्पर्धाएं हुई है। मुझे बताया गया है कि कुछ गांवों में तो गारंटी वाली गाड़ी आने पर हर घर के दरवाजे पर जिस दिन आने वाली थी उसके एक दिन पहले शाम को लोगों ने घर के बाहर दिया जलाया ताकि पूरे गांव में गारंटी वाली गाड़ी का एक वातावरण बन जाए। यानी जो लोगों का उमंग है। और कुछ लोग तो मैंने सुना कि गांव के बाहर तक जाते हैं, गाड़ी आने वाली है तो पूजा का सामान लेकर के, आरती लेकर के, फूल लेकर के गांव के दरवाजे, गांव के बाहर जो पेड़ होता है, नाका होता है या गेट होता है, वहां तक गए और गाड़ी का स्वागत करते हुए अंदर तक ले गए, नारे बोलते बोलते। यानी पूरे गांव में जैसे उत्सव का वातावरण बना दिया। मुझे जानकर भी अच्छा लगा कि हमारी पंचायतों ने विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के स्वागत के लिए हर गांव में अच्छी स्वागत समितियां बनाई हैं। गांव के सब बड़े बुजुर्ग, समाज के सभी वर्ग के लोग, सबको स्वागत समितियों में जोड़ा है और स्वागत समिति के लोग इसका स्वागत करने के लिए तैयारियां कर रही है, जिम्मेदारियां संभाल रही है। मोदी की गारंटी की वाली जो गाड़ी आने वाली है ना, इसकी एक दिन पहले से घोषणा हो रही है। अब तो मैंने कोशिश की है कि भाई जरा एक दो दिन क्या, सबसे पहले बता दो भाई फलानी तारीख को आएगा, डिग्री तारीख को आएगा, इतने बजे आएगा। तो गांव वालों का इतना उत्साह है तो पहले से अगर पता चलेगा तो ज्यादा तैयारियां करेंगे। और जिन गांव में गाड़ी जाने वाली है, अगल बगल के 2-4-5 किलोमीटर छोटे छोटे कस्बे होते हैं, उनको भी बुला सकते हैं। स्कूल के बच्चों से लेकर के बुजुर्गों को भी इस योजना में शामिल किया जा रहा है। और मैंने देखा उसमें सेल्फी पॉइंट बनते हैं, इतनी सेल्फी लोग ले रहे हैं। और गांव के भी माताएं बहनें मोबाइल फोन का उपयोग करना, सेल्फी लेना और ये सेल्फी अपलोड करते हैं। मैं देखता हूँ इतने खुश नजर आते हैं लोग। और मुझे संतोष है कि जैसे जैसे ये यात्रा देश के कोने कोने में पहुंच रही है, लोगों का उत्साह और ज्यादा बढ़ता जा रहा है। ओडिशा में जगह जगह पारंपरिक ट्राइबल डांस से नृत्य करते हैं लोग, जो परंपरागत हमारे आदिवासी परिवारों में होता है। इतना शानदार नृत्य हो रहे हैं, उनका स्वागत किया है। वेस्ट खासी हिल के मुझे कुछ लोगों ने फोटो भेजे, उसका वीडियो भेजा। वेस्ट खासी हिल के रामराय में कार्यक्रम के दौरान स्थानीय लोगों ने खूब सुंदर सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम किए, नृत्य का आयोजन किया। अंडमान और लक्षद्वीप दूर दूर को पूछता नहीं, ऐसे ही लाके इतना बड़ा शानदार कार्यक्रम लोग कर रहे हैं और बड़ी खूबसूरती के लिए किए जा रहे हैं। करीब है जहां अब तो बर्फ गिरी है, वहां पर भी स्वागत कार्यक्रम में कोई कमी नजर नहीं आ रही। मुझे अभी बताया एक कार्यक्रम में अभी तो बोले आसपास के लोग इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में, छोटा सा गांव था लेकिन 4-4.5 हजार लोग इकट्ठे हो गए। ऐसे अनगिनत उदाहरण रोज देखने को मिल रहे हैं, वीडियो देखने को मिल रहा है, पूरा सोशल मीडिया भरा हुआ है। मैं तो कहूंगा कि इन कामों की, इन तैयारियों का जो काम हो रहा है, शायद मुझे तो पूरा पता भी नहीं होगा। इतनी विविधताएं लोगों ने की है, इतने उसमें नए रंग भर दिए हैं, नया उत्साह भर दिया है। मुझे तो लगता है शायद इसका एक बहुत बड़ी लिस्ट बनानी चाहिए ताकि गारंटी वाली गाड़ी जहां जहां पहुंचने वाली है उनको भी तैयारी करने के लिए काम आ जाए। ये सारे सुझाव जो लोगों ने किया है, वो अनुभव उनको भी काम आ जाए। तो एक उसकी भी अगर लिस्ट बन जाए और वो भी पहुंच जाए तो गांव में उत्साह बढ़ाने में काम आएगा। इससे उन क्षेत्रों के लोगों की भी मदद मिलेगी जहां ये गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पहुंचने वाली है, जो करना चाहते हैं लेकिन क्या करना वो पता नहीं है, उनको आइडिया मिल जाएगा। साथियों, सरकार की लगातार कोशिश है कि जब मोदी की गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पहुंचे तो गांव का हर एक व्यक्ति उस गाड़ी तक जरूर पहुंचना चाहिए। घंटे भर के लिए खेत का काम छोड़ करके जाना चाहिए। हर बच्चों को, बूढ़ों को, बुजुर्गों को, सबको ले जाना चाहिए क्योंकि हमें देश को आगे बढ़ाना है। और जब ऐसा होगा तभी हम हर लाभार्थी तक पहुंच पाएंगे, तभी 100% सैचुरेशन का जो संकल्प है ना वो पूरा हो जाएगा। हमारे इस प्रयास का गांव-गांव में असर भी दिखाई दे रहा है। मोदी की गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पर पहुंचने के बाद लगभग 1 लाख नए लाभार्थियों ने उज्ज्वला योजना के तहत मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन ले लिया है, आवेदन किया है। कुछ गांव है, जैसे अभी मैं बात कर रहा था बिहार से, तो हमारी प्रियंका जी कह रही थी मेरे गांव में सबको वो पहुंच गया है, अच्छा लगा मुझे। लेकिन कुछ गांव है एक दो लोग रह गए, तो गाड़ी पहुंचती तो वो भी ढूंढ कर वो दे रहे हैं। इस यात्रा के दौरान मौके पर ही 35 लाख से अधिक आयुष्मान कार्ड भी दिए गए। और आयुष्मान कार्ड यानी एक प्रकार से किसी भी बीमार व्यक्ति को जीवन जीने का एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर की गारंटी बन जाता है। गारंटी वाली गाड़ी पहुंचने पर जिस प्रकार लाखों लोग अपना हेल्थ चेकअप करा रहे हैं, और मुझे खुशी है कि सभी राज्यों में हेल्थ का कैंप लगता है। तो गांव में डॉक्टर बड़े-बड़े आ रहे हैं, मशीन आ रहे हैं, तो सबका मेडिकल चेकअप हो जाता है, शरीर की तपास हो जाती है, तो पता चल जाता है कुछ कमी है क्या। मैं समझता हूँ ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा सेवा का भी काम है, संतोष मिलता है। बड़ी संख्या में लोग अब आयुष्मान आरोग्य मंदिरों में जाकर, जिसको पहले हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस सेंटर कहते थे, अब लोग उसको आयुष्मान आरोग्य मंदिर कह रहे हैं, वहां पर जाकर के भी भांति के टेस्ट करवा रहे हैं। साथियों, केंद्र सरकार और देश की जनता के बीच एक सीधा रिश्ता, एक भावात्मक रिश्ता। और मैं तो जब कहता हूं आप मेरे परिवारजन, तो मेरे परिवारजनों तक पहुंचने का ये आपके सेवक का एक नम्र प्रयास है। मैं आपके गांव तक आ रहा हूं, गाड़ी के माध्यम से आ रहा हूं। क्यों? आपके सुख दुख का साथी बनूं, आपकी आशा आकांक्षाओं को समझूं, उसको पूरा करने के लिए पूरी सरकार की शक्ति लगाऊं। हमारी सरकार माई बाप सरकार नहीं है, बल्कि हमारी सरकार तो महतारी पिता की सेवक सरकार है। माँ बाप का जो एक बच्चा सेवा भाव करता है ना, वैसे ही मोदी आपकी सेवा का काम करता है। और मेरे लिए तो जो गरीब है, जो वंचित है, वे सब लोग जिनको कोई पूछता नहीं है, जिनके लिए सरकारी दफ्तरों के दरवाजे तक बंद है, जिनको कोई नहीं पूछता है, उनको मोदी सबसे पहले पूछता है। मोदी पूछता ही है ऐसा नहीं, मोदी पूजता भी है। मेरे लिए तो देश का हर गरीब मेरे लिए वीआईपी है। देश की हर माता बहन बेटी मेरे लिए वीआईपी है। देश का हर किसान मेरे लिए वीआईपी है। देश का हर युवा मेरे लिए वीआईपी है। मेरे परिवारजनों, देश में हाल में हुए विधानसभा चुनावों के परिणामों की आज भी बहुत चर्चा हो रही है। इन चुनाव नतीजों ने ये साफ कर दिया है कि मोदी की गारंटी में ही दम है। मैं सभी मतदाताओं का आभारी हूं जिन्होंने मोदी की गारंटी पर इतना भरोसा किया। लेकिन साथियों, सवाल ये भी है कि जो हमारे विरोध में खड़े हैं, उन पर देश को भरोसा क्यों नहीं है? दरअसल कुछ राजनीतिक दलों को ये सीधी बात समझ नहीं आ रही है कि झूठी घोषणाएं करके वो कुछ हासिल नहीं कर पाएंगे। चुनाव सोशल मीडिया पर नहीं, जनता के बीच जाकर जीतना होता है। चुनाव जीतने से पहले जनता का दिल जीतना आवश्यक होता है। जनता के विवेक को कम मांगना ठीक नहीं है। अगर कुछ विपक्षी दलों ने राजनीतिक स्वार्थ के बजाय सेवा भाव को सर्वोपरि रखा होता, सेवा भाव को ही अपना काम समझा होता, तो देश की बहुत बड़ी आबादी अभाव में, मुसीबतों में, तकलीफों में न रहती। दशकों तक सरकारें चलाने वालों ने अगर ईमानदारी से काम किया होता तो जो गारंटी मोदी को आज देनी पड़ रही है वो 50 साल पहले ही पूरी हो गई होती। मेरे परिवारजनों, विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा चल रही है। इसमें भी बहुत बड़ी संख्या में हमारी नारी शक्ति ही शामिल हो रही है। हमारी माताएं बहनें जुड़ रही हैं। मोदी की गारंटी की गाड़ी के साथ फोटो खिंचाने की भी उनमें होड़ मची है। आप देखिए, गरीबों के जो 4 करोड़ से अधिक घर बने ना, कोई कल्पना कर सकता है हमारे देश में 4 करोड़ घर इतने कम समय में गरीबों को मिले। और सबसे मेरी खुशी तो इसमें है कि जो 4 करोड़ घर मिले हैं उसमें 70% लाभार्थी महिलाएं हैं। मतलब कि अगर किसी गांव में 10 घर बने हैं तो उसमें से 7 पक्के घर माताओं के नाम पर रजिस्टर हो गए हैं, जिनके नाम पहले 1 रुपए की भी संपत्ति नहीं थी। आज मुद्रा ऋण के हर 10 लाभार्थियों में से भी 7 महिलाएं ही हैं। किसी ने दुकान ढाबा खोला, किसी ने सिलाई कढ़ाई का काम शुरू किया, किसी ने सैलून, पार्लर ऐसे अनेक बिजनेस शुरू किए। आज गांव-गांव में देश की 10 करोड़ बहनें स्वयं सहायता समूह से जुड़ी है। ये समूह बहनों को अतिरिक्त कमाई के साधन दे रहे हैं, उन्हें देश की प्रगति में भागीदार का सीधा अवसर दे रहे हैं। सरकार महिलाओं का कौशल विकास की तरफ ध्यान दे रही है और मैंने एक संकल्प लिया है। शायद कोई भाई पूरी जिंदगी पर रक्षाबंधन इतनी कर ले, ऐसा संकल्प नहीं ले सकता है जो मोदी ने लिया है। मोदी ने संकल्प लिया है कि मुझे मेरे गांव में ये जो स्व सहायता समूह चला रहे हैं ना, मुझे 2 करोड़ मेरी बहनों को 2 करोड़ बहनों को मैं लखपति दीदी बनाना चाहता हूं। वो गर्व से खड़ी रहे और कहे मैं लखपति दीदी हूं, मेरी आय 1 लाख रुपए से ज्यादा है। अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही हमने देश में, क्योंकि मैं इन दीदियों को नमन करता हूं, उनको प्रणाम करता हूं, क्योंकि उनकी शक्ति को मैं आदर करता हूं और इसलिए सरकार ने एक योजना बनाई है, नमो ड्रोन दीदी। छोटे में लोग उसको बोलते हैं नमो दीदी। ये नमो ड्रोन दीदी है, या तो कोई कहे उसको नमो दीदी, ये अभियान शुरू किया गया। इस अभियान के जरिए प्रारंभ में हम 15,000 स्व सहायता समूह, सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप, उसकी जो बहनें हैं उनको ट्रेनिंग देंगे, ये नमो ड्रोन दीदी बनाएंगे, फिर उनको ड्रोन दिया जाएगा और गांव में जैसे ट्रैक्टर से खेती का काम होता है वैसे दवाई छिड़कने का काम हो, फर्टिलाइजर छिड़कने का काम हो, फसल को देखने का काम हो, पानी पहुंचाए नहीं पहुंचाए वो देखने का काम हो, ये सारे काम अब ड्रोन कर सकता है। और गांव में रहने वाली हमारी बहनों बेटियों को ड्रोन उड़ाने की ट्रेनिंग भी दी जाएगी। इस ट्रेनिंग के बाद बहनों बेटियों को ये नमो ड्रोन दीदी की पहचान मिलेगी, जिसको सामान्य भाषा में लोग नमो दीदी कहते हैं। दीदी को नमो तो अच्छी बात है, हर गांव में दीदी को नमो। तो ये नमो दीदी देश की कृषि व्यवस्था को आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी से तो जोड़ेगी ही, उन्हें कमाई का अतिरिक्त साधन भी मिलेगा। और उसके कारण खेती में बहुत बड़ा बदलाव आएगा। हमारी खेती वैज्ञानिक होगी, आधुनिक होगी, टेक्नोलॉजी वाली होगी। और जब माताएं बहनें करती है ना, फिर तो सब लोग इस बात को मान जाते हैं। मेरे परिवारजनों, नारी शक्ति हो, युवा शक्ति हो, किसान हो या फिर हमारे गरीब भाई बहन, विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के प्रति इनका समर्थन अद्भुत है। मुझे जानकर काफी अच्छा लगा कि इस यात्रा के दौरान 1 लाख से ज्यादा हमारे जो नौजवान खिलाड़ी हैं, गांव-गांव खेलकूद को आगे बढ़ाने का काम कर रहे हैं। 1 लाख से ज्यादा खिलाड़ियों को पुरस्कृत किया गया है, उनको सम्मानित किया गया है। ये युवा खिलाड़ियों को खेल की दुनिया में आगे बढ़ने के लिए बहुत बड़ा प्रोत्साहन मिलने वाला है। आपने देखा होगा, नमो ऐप लोग डाउनलोड करते हैं, वैसे ही माई भारत के वॉलेंटियर भी बन रहे हैं नौजवान गांव-गांव में। नमो माई भारत वॉलेंटियर के रूप में जिस उत्साह के साथ हमारे बेटे बेटी जुड़ रहे हैं, हमारी युवा शक्ति जुड़ रही है, रजिस्टर करवा रहे हैं, उनकी शक्ति गांव के बदल के लिए, देश के बदल के लिए भविष्य में बहुत काम आने वाली है। भारत के संकल्प को वो सशक्त करता है। मैं ये सभी वॉलेंटियर्स, उनको 2 काम देता हूं। ये जो माय भारत के साथ रजिस्टर हुए हैं ना, वो अपने मोबाइल फोन पर नमो ऐप डाउनलोड करें और उसमें विकसित भारत एम्बेसडर ऐसा एक काम शुरू किया गया है। आप अपने आप को विकसित भारत एम्बेसडर तरीके रजिस्टर करवाइए। आप इस विकसित भारत एम्बेसडर के रूप में आप जिम्मेवारी लेके उसमें जो बताया गया वो काम कीजिए। रोज 10-10 नए लोगों को बनाइए और एक मूवमेंट कराए हुए हैं। हम लोग ऐसे हैं जो जैसे महात्मा गांधी के जमाने में लोग सत्याग्रही ज्वाइन होते थे, वैसे हमें विकसित भारत के वॉलेंटियर एम्बेसडर तैयार कर रहे हैं, जो विकसित भारत बनाने के लिए जो भी जरूरी है काम करें। दूसरा, भाई भारत तो विकसित होगा, लेकिन मेरी युवा पीढ़ी दुर्बल है, पूरा दिन भर टीवी के सामने बैठी रहती है, पूरा दिन मोबाइल फोन पर ही देखती रहती है, हाथ पैर भी नहीं हिलाती है। तो जब देश समृद्धि की तरफ जाएगा और मेरा युवा सशक्त नहीं होगा, तो सब देश कैसे आगे बढ़ेगा, किसके काम आएगा। और इसलिए मेरा एक दूसरा आपको आग्रह है, जैसे नमो ऐप पर विकसित भारत के एम्बेसडर का काम है, वैसे फिट इंडिया मूवमेंट को हमें गांव-गांव वातावरण बनाना है। और मैं मेरे देश के नौजवानों से, बेटे हो या बेटी, वो शरीर से मजबूत होने चाहिए, वो ढीले ढाले नहीं होने चाहिए। कभी 2-4 किलोमीटर चलना पड़े तो वो बस ढूंढे, टैक्सी ढूंढे, ऐसा नहीं। अरे हिम्मत वाले चाहिए। ऐसे मेरा जो माय युवा भारत है ना, उसके वॉलेंटियर इसको आगे करें। और मैं चाहता हूं फिट इंडिया के लिए मैं 4 बातें बताता हूं। इन 4 चीजों को हमेशा प्राथमिकता दीजिए। ये पक्का करिए, एक, ज्यादा से ज्यादा पानी पीना चाहिए। थोड़ा दिन भर पानी पीना चाहिए, शरीर के लिए बहुत जरूरी होता है। फिट इंडिया के लिए मेरे नौजवानों को मेरा आग्रह है। दूसरा, पोषण। हमारा मिलेट्स कितना बढ़िया ताकत देता है जी, हम मिलेट्स को खाने की आदत डलाएं। तीसरा, पहला पानी, दूसरा पोषण, तीसरा पहलवानी। पहलवानी मतलब थोड़ा व्यायाम करो, कसरत करो, दौड़ो, जरा खेलकूद करो, पैर पर लटको, उतरो, बैठो, पहलवानी करनी चाहिए। और चौथा, पर्याप्त नींद। पर्याप्त नींद शरीर के लिए बहुत जरूरी है। इन 4 चीजों को तो फिट इंडिया के लिए हर गांव में कर सकते हो। इसके लिए गांव में कोई नई व्यवस्थाओं की जरूरत नहीं है। देखिए, स्वस्थ शरीर के लिए हमारे चारों तरफ बहुत कुछ है, हमें उसका फायदा उठाना है। अगर इन चारों पर ध्यान देंगे तो हमारे युवा स्वस्थ होंगे, और जब हमारा युवा स्वस्थ होगा और जब विकसित भारत बनेगा ना, तब इन युवाओं को उसका सबसे ज्यादा फायदा लेने का अवसर मिलेगा। तो इसकी तैयारी में ये भी जरूरी है। विकसित भारत के लिए नोटे ही निकले, पैसे ही निकले, धन ही कमाए, ऐसा नहीं है। बहुत प्रकार के काम करने हैं। आज मैं एक काम बताया हूं, और वो है फिट इंडिया का। मेरे नौजवान, मेरे बेटे बेटी तंदुरुस्त होने चाहिए। हमें कोई लड़ाई लड़ने नहीं जाना है, लेकिन किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की पूरी ताकत होनी चाहिए। अच्छा काम करने के लिए अगर 2 घंटे ज्यादा काम करना पड़े, पूरी ताकत होनी चाहिए। मेरे परिवारजनों, इस संकल्प यात्रा के दौरान हम जो भी शपथ ले रहे हैं, वो सिर्फ कुछ वाक्य भर नहीं है, बल्कि हमारे जीवन मंत्र बनने चाहिए। चाहे सरकारी कर्मचारी हो, अधिकारी हो, जनप्रतिनिधि हो, या फिर सामान्य नागरिक, हम सबको पूरी निष्ठा से साथ जुटना है, सबका प्रयास लगना है, तभी भारत विकसित होने वाला है। हमें विकसित भारत का सपना पूरा करना है, मिलजुल करके करना है। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, आज देश भर के लाखों मेरे परिवारजनों से मुझे सीधी बात करने का मौका मिला है। ये कार्यक्रम इतना उत्तम है, इतना बढ़िया है कि मेरा मन करता है मैं थोड़े दिन के बाद फिर अगर समय निकल पाया तो फिर यात्रा के साथ आप सबके साथ जुड़ूंगा, और जिस गांव में यात्रा होगी उस गांव के लोगों से फिर से बात करने का मौका मिलेगा। मेरी आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं। धन्यवाद।
So we are going to have 7 temples here. In this area, just outside Perkota, there will be separate temples, not together. 7 separate temples will be built. इस पूरे स्ट्रक्चर में आयरन कहीं नहीं इस्तेमाल हुआ है, क्योंकि आयरन की लाइफ जो है वो 94-95 ईयर्स होती है। हम तो 1000 ईयर्स का टेम्पल बना रहे हैं। 3500 labor is working day and night. People of my generation, even your generation, younger generation, and many generations who have gone, they never ever thought that the Ram temple will be a reality. Not a single pie has come from any government agency for the construction of the temple. The first Land Acquisition Act, it was implemented with the advice, aid and advice of ministers and myself. But the beauty of this Prime Minister is, when I went to tell him that please do not issue the third ordinance on this matter, he looked at me. He said, "You're telling me?" Not even once he would use the word, "You guys are responsible." He takes the full responsibility for what happens. His speech on my farewell, I couldn't believe. I was in tears. The cabinet ministers and secretaries to the government who were invited, they couldn't believe. Prime Minister spoke for 45 minutes and he spoke only about me.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Thank you for liking, subscribing and sharing with people who you think will benefit from these conversations. My guest today has been entrusted with the task of completing the construction of the Ram temple in Ayodhya. Mr. Nripender Mishra is one of the most experienced bureaucrats of our times. He was Principal Secretary in the Prime Minister's office from 2014 to 2019. In the second term of Prime Minister Modi, when Mr. Mishra asked that he be relieved of his duties in the PMO, the Prime Minister accepted his resignation and tweeted, "Nripender Mishra is among the most outstanding officers who has a great grasp of public policy and administration. When I was new to Delhi in 2014, he taught me a lot and his guidance remains extremely valuable. Unquote. Mr. Mishra couldn't really hang up his boots because he was soon appointed as the chairman of the Executive Council of the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, and then as chairman of the Ayodhya Ram Mandir Construction Committee. So let's get chatting with the man himself who's entrusted with this task. He has to complete the construction of the Ram Temple by January 2024. Mr. Mishra, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. I'm delighted that you could find the time and come to the studio here because I know that the deadlines are really sharp with the Pran Pratishtha to happen in January 2024. So I'm guessing that your work is like literally 24/7 to keep an eye on everything. But before I begin to ask you about the timelines and the construction process, one question which, for our overseas viewers and for our young viewers who are not very aware, would I say, of what it means to install a deity, what it means to do a pran pratishtha. It's not just bringing a deity and keeping there. What does the process mean? I know neither you nor I are priests, but a person who's the man in the hot seat. I'd want you to explain a little bit about what the process is.
Actually, it's a good question. And as you said, particularly for those who are not in some manner sort of educated will be a wrong word, but they have not yet, have developed the kind of belief
So,
that people who are there and are attached with the temple will have. So now the process is that consecration means that the murti which is being sculpted today at the moment in Ayodhya, and hopefully it will be ready by middle of December, and we are going to have one of the three which is being sculpted there. So that will start its journey of consecration sometime around the second week of January. The journey starts with a dip in Saryu River.
the murti will be
Yeah.
taken to the Saryu River.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it could be any date, I am not sure, because that is the area which trust looks after. And more particularly, as you said, the priests would be taking care of that. But after the journey and to that place, it is believed that Lord, the child Ram, would like to visit the various temples which existed then
Okay.
in Ayodhya.
Prachin Mandir.
Yeah. So whatever temples are there today in Ayodhya, in the form of a procession, Lord would be, child Ram would be going in some kind of a chariot and stopping at some of the key temples of Ayodhya. And then finally, the deity or the whatever is carved, child Ram, that will enter the premises of the temple area.
So in this, it will enter from the eastern gate. Is that the eastern gate? It's not decided as yet?
Yeah. This is the eastern gate is this, and the devotees would
Enter from there.
enter from there.
And where will the deity be?
Yeah, so I'm coming to that, to your question. The entrance for the child Ram, the chariot will enter from
Oh,
this portion.
okay, not from here.
No.
Okay.
And of course, it is not open to public. The whole ceremony is
We
not
were at
open
$500
to public.
billion in the
It
year
will
2021.
somewhere take place
In the
very
year
early
20
in
to
the
23,
morning.
The year just gone
And
by. We
then
grew from
the
675 to
deity will be placed
776
in the
billion. Prime
sanctum
Minister Modi has
sanctorum.
consistently been guiding
You
us
know, yeah.
that we
So
should
it's a
bring out
three-story
high quality products from
structure.
India. It's not only
Is that
about our
structure
exports.
complete?
Yes, our
Only the
exports.
ground floor.
I am responsible to
What we have
140 crore
promised is
Indians. But when
that
we
the
talk
ground
of
floor,
self-reliance,
which is here,
we are not closing
going like
India's
this,
doors to international
along with
engagement.
5
If you at
mandap.
all ask me,
These
I
are
think we are
mandaps.
opening them wider.
Okay.
The people
Right?
of India are
Yeah.
smart
5.
and understand what's going
Along
on.
with the
They don't
5
want to be a
mandaps
Sri Lanka or a
will be
Pakistan
ready
from a fragile 5
in
economy
January
10
of
years ago
2024.
to the world's
I
fifth
interrupted
largest
you, sir.
economy. The
So it
mics
will
are
be taken
determined
to
by
the
the
Garbh.
chair. And
Right.
no mic goes
And
off for anybody, but
it
there's a time limit. It's an
enters the
absolute
Garbh Granth.
travesty of the truth.
And what
to
they
suggest
do
that the
is,
mics are switched off for the opposition members. They're switched off for
belief
ruling party
is
member. If you have the
that
Shiv Sena,
the
where Uddhav Thakur
Pran
was suddenly
Pratishtha
chosen out of the blues,
would
whereas
enable
Raj
the
Thakur
Lord
seemed to
to
be the
see the
natural heir,
devotees,
as they say.
and
blood
the
is thinner than
devotees
water,
would
he
be
wanted
able
his
to
own son.
worship
It's important that
the
political
Lord.
families,
So
instead
for
of
that
treating their
time,
parties as
some kind of
fiefdoms,
a
should start
band
respecting
on his eyes
actual activists who
that is put.
do good for the country.
With the Delhi ordinance.
So from the
How is
date
it going to
the
work?
entry is
It
there
will be passed in the parliament.
till
So it's-
the date
It's
of
going to pass in the
consecration.
Rajya Sabha. You're 100%
That is there.
certain about that.
Whenever
the
there was
band.
something
How
my
interesting.
wife was very sure
And
of, she would say
It
110%.
really is
Okay.
opened
So that's what I'll use today.
when the
110%.
Pran Pratishtha consecration has taken place. And the belief
Namaste, Jai Hind.
is
Welcome to another edition of ANI Podcast
that
with Smita Prakash.
from then
My guest
on,
today is a second
he
generation
attains
politician from the
the
Bharatiya Janata
qualities
Party. He has
of
seen
a
policies and
lord,
programs being
of a
formed
god,
in the
or
party
supernatural.
in the Vajpayee Advani era
So
and now
that
to
is
the
the
Modi Shah
belief.
era.
Mhm.
Piyush
So
Goyal is known to be
transferring
part of the
from
group of ministers
a
which is on
normal
a mission mode
to
to accomplish goals set
exceptional
before them before
is
campaigning
the
begins
process which
for the
is
2024
consecration
general
prayers.
election. Mr.
And
Goyal has
final
held several
chanting
portfolios
of
in the cabinet,
mantras,
but currently
opening
he
of
is
the
Minister of
band,
Commerce and
and
Industry,
then he is now
Consumer Affairs and
exposed to
Public
the world
Distribution, Minister of
and
Textiles, and is leader
universe.
of the Rajya
That
Sabha.
is the
In his tenure as
final
Minister of Commerce and
consecration,
Industry,
which will be
India
on
achieved its
22nd
highest ever
of
exports
January
of about
2024.
$675
Right.
billion
Two questions that
in
emerged, which
2021-22.
I'm sure
Piyushji,
people
thank you
who
so much for
haven't
being part of this
followed
podcast.
it in the
I've
news
been looking forward to
completely
speaking with you. I've
would
interviewed
have
you before,
is
but not
what
as
you
part of the
said
podcast.
is
This
that
is a completely different format,
the
but
idol
you
is
are
being
mahir in
sculpted
all this.
right
You've done a
now in
podcast
Ayodhya.
before. So,
one of the three idols. So then
let's begin
that
with
needs
you
to
have
be
a zillion,
explained to some of our
portfolios.
viewers who don't
So
know the
let me
details.
begin with commerce
because
and industry first.
Many would say that
what
isn't
are the steps
Ramlala's
that,
idol
your
already there?
government is
Baby
taking
Ram's
to
idol
boost
already there.
exports? I
So
want to
why
know,
is
because,
it being sculpted?
I've just
And
read out
if
in
there's
the
a new
introduction
idol
that
which is
the
coming,
highest
what
ever
happens to
exports
the
under your
earlier
tenure,
idol?
which
It
we
is
had, which
true.
is 600,
The belief
$675 billion.
and this belief is from 1947-49
22 is what I've
that
heard.
Ramlala
So tell
appeared
me,
there.
how did you
That
get
is
here?
the belief.
What was your goal that
So
was set before
that
you?
is
And
the
what is the
present
goal for the next year now?
in a temporary
Thank you very much
hut
for giving me
meant
this
which is there.
opportunity, Smita
The
ji.
Lord is there.
Truly a
And
delight
the
to engage
prayer
with this
of
new
that
form of
Lord
communication
Ram,
which is
child
taking the
Ram,
world by storm.
has been going
I had the
uninterrupted.
opportunity to see some of your
You
shows.
may be
They're
surprised
really
to know
quite interesting,
that
very engaging.
Thank
very
you.
Since
enjoyable.
1947, when the
Smita ji,
first news
exports
flashed in Ayodhya
are the strength
that
of
the
an
Lord
economy,
has appeared at
particularly
this
when you're
place.
producing high quality products.
prayer,
They help you reach out to new
regular
markets. They
prayers
help you on foreign
of
exchange.
the Lord
They provide jobs
has
to
never been
crores of your
interrupted.
brothers and sisters. And
Now,
Prime Minister
your
Narendra
question
Modi is very
that
focused.
you already
that
have a
if India
Lord,
has
then
to
why do
become
you
a
want to
developed
have
nation,
another Lord?
we will have
It's true.
to look at greater
He
international
thought of it.
engagements.
One
On
reason
6th of
was
August 2021, in
that
the middle of COVID, he
people
addressed
who will
all
come
the industry
now will
associations,
have a
captains of
darshan
industry, all our export
from a
promotion
certain
councils,
distance, which will be
all
minimum
the line
about
ministries
25 to
who are
30
engaged
feet.
with products, goods,
So
and
in
services
order
which are
to
exported.
meet
And it
the
truly
eyes
gave
of
a
the
very,
Lord
very
with the
inspiring
person
address.
who is doing the prayer,
He brought the best
and
out of
in
each
order
of
to
us
see the
and
feet of the Lord,
got the
there
whole
has to be
ecosystem in the true
another
spirit of the whole of the government
creation,
approach. Here he made
another
it the whole
Lord
of the
which
nation
has to be
approach.
sculpted.
And
And
got
that
the
is why
best
it was decided
coming out of
that
all stakeholders.
we'll have
We
be
related to the
standing.
export sector. So we've tried to
statue.
make ease of
Correct.
doing
I've
business.
seen Ramlala
People
statue.
can,
I've been to Ayodhya
venture
a couple of
into
times,
newer areas.
and I've
We
had the good
focused on
fortune to see
expanding
it's.
existing
I
markets,
saw it as a
existing
journalist.
sectors.
Uh,
Also
you know,
looked at new
to see that
sectors,
what is it
new
that
markets,
made so much
virgin,
news. Can I see the statue?
areas
तो बड़ी
where we had
मुश्किल
not
से पहली
ventured
बार
before.
I went out there to see it.
We engaged
And
180
when I
missions
saw
across the
Ramlala, I
world.
was like, इतने
And all
छोटे तो
mission
दिखाई भी
heads
नहीं दे रहे थे
were
because वो एक
given
केज
a
सा बना हुआ
GI,
था तो
key
वो
performance
दिखते नहीं है
indicator.
और वो
don't know,
वो देखते
just to
हैं within
interrupt
a
you,
few
missions
minutes
mean
you have to leave, you see,
embassies,
Like
because
embassies or
the
high
security was
commissions.
so high at that point of
he
time because
got
there
all
was
of
so much
them
threat
engaged saying that
to that
you
area.
will be assessed
और
on
वो वैसे भी
your
journalist जब आते हैं
performance
तो
on trade, your
the
performance
security
on
forces are
technology,
suspicious of
your
us.
performance
तो
on tourism.
छोटा सा and you can
And this
barely
became
see
the
the Lord.
collective
बहुत छोटे हैं, the मूर्ति is very
energy
little.
At the
of the whole
moment,
ecosystem.
all those
And we were
who
at
come
$500 billion
hardly
in the
get
year
to see.
2021.
In fact,
You're
they
right.
only
We
see it
achieved
on the television screen.
675
Oh.
Because
in the year
there is a
21, 22,
television.
but I'll just
So
correct
while
you a little
moving
bit.
on,
In the year
and as you
20 to
rightly
23,
said,
the year
the
just
police
gone by,
manages a crowd.
very
Yeah.
So they are
challenging year,
moving very
very
fast
difficult
from
year.
there.
Yeah.
Perhaps they
Conflict is
just
not
see
over.
That.
there on the
World's
screen.
Correct.
biggest
So from that
and
point of
most
view
developed
also it was
nations
thought.
are
But
facing
then
recession.
your question, what
Inflation
will you do to
is
that
very high.
present Lord?
Despite that,
The
last year we grew
Sanctum
from
Sanctorum
675 to
is going to
776
have
billion.
a place
So we've
for
actually, if you see in
standing Ram,
rupees,
child,
we've grown
Ram,
from 38
who is of the age 4
lakh
to 5
crores
years.
Okay.
of
And
exports 2 years ago.
just in
We have grown
front
to
of that
62 lakh crores.
will be the
in 2 years.
present
Okay.
Now
Lord.
just imagine
Baby.
the jobs, the
And
opportunities,
the
what our startups,
distinction
our
is
young
that
people
one
are
is
getting.
called
Right.
Achal
Now,
Murti.
tell me,
Achal
in
means
this
it will
quality
never
control,
from now
because
on move.
exports, one was
So the
always,
plant pratishtha
talking
which is
about
being
exports,
done,
and then it was like exports
that will
cannot
be
go
the
up
Achal Murti.
because India
It will not
doesn't have
move
quality
out from the
control.
Sanctum
So where was
Sanctorum.
it on your
That's the
priority
standing
list
one
to
या
see
baby?
this
Standing
जुगाड़ का
one.
माल नहीं करना
Go
चाहिए
ahead.
to have
And
quality
what is
control?
I know,
being,
आपको
what
याद
will
होगा,
come
there was a
on that
time
day,
when you
it
went
will
to the
come on
market,
22nd of
you would
January.
say कि भैया
From the
export
present
quality का
temple,
माल
it
दिखाओ,
will
यहाँ
move
लिखा
to
होता
the
था for
Sanctum
export
Sanctorum.
Yeah.
That is called Utsav.
And
What
मुझे
is the
याद
meaning
है
of Utsav Murti is
Festival.
that there
2014
could be
15
occasions
first year of government.
when in a
Prime Minister
festival
Modi gave us a mantra.
the trust decides
Zero
to take
effect,
the procession
zero
of the
defect.
Lord Ram, like
And
you
he has
have in Jagannath
consistently
Puri.
maintained that
Correct.
India
So,
cannot afford to be left
Then
behind in the race. for
Utsav Murti
quality.
will go.
Okay.
Just
but
like
not
you
the
recognize
Achal
Switzerland
Murti.
for a
So
watch
that is
maybe in
how
chocolates.
both
or you
the
recognize
Murtis, they
Japan
will be
for
there in the
precision
Sanctum Sanctorum.
manufacturing.
And there will
Or
be
for zero
regular
defect
prayer
manufacturing. Or you
and all the
recognize,
other ceremonies
let's say,
of the Lord,
whiskies
both
of
for them
United
separately.
Kingdom, the Scotch whiskies or
Yeah.
single malts.
Okay.
Every country
Interesting.
has
They will be
focused on
prayed, and
creating
there
a
will
brand
be
equity.
prayer for the existing,
And Prime Minister
and
Modi
there
has
will be a prayer for
consistently
the
been guiding us.
And both the
that we
murtis
should
will be
bring
in the
out
Sanctum
high
Sanctorum.
quality
Yes.
products
Both
from
will be
India.
there.
Yes.
तो
Which
जब
are
हम
of
आगे
world
जाएंगे,
standards, internationally accepted
when we
standards.
put
We've
bow
been
our head before the
aggressively
murtis,
working
we'll
on
be
it for
bowing our head
purposes.
before both the
It's
Oh,
not
murtis.
yes.
only about
Oh,
our
yes.
exports.
And both will be
It's our
visible
Yes,
clearly.
yes, yes.
I am
They will be
responsible
very
to
clearly
140
visible.
crore
Perhaps
Indians
better visibility to
for
the standing
ensuring
one.
that they get a good deal,
But
they get value
you will
from
be
us.
able to see
They get high quality
what
products
was
at
there
affordable prices.
from
as Consumer Affairs
1947
Minister.
onwards.
So
which
it's
is
the
supposed
Consumer
to have
Affairs Department
suddenly come out
based
there
on
at the side
demand
Prakat
for high
and
quality
Prakat
products that
ho
our
gaye.
consumers
And
have a
the
right
second
to.
one is
That is
the
focusing
one
on
which is going to
expanding
be now
quality
installed
standards.
and
We now have
consecration
a
meeting.
huge
Right.
number of
Now you
standards
said
in
there are
goods and
three
services, and we
murtis.
continue to have new
Are these
standards
three
coming out
murtis
in the
made of
thousands.
different
We have also
material? Like
introduced
is
the
it
concept of
granite,
quality control
marble,
orders
bronze,
more aggressively.
brass,
There were
gold?
quality
What
control
is-
orders
what
by
are
See,
the-
that
around
process was a
2014.
bit
I think we had
technical.
110 or
The first thing that
120
we were very careful was
products which came
that
under quality
the
control.
stone which is chosen
Now we have crossed
must
400.
have certain
And the
minimum
target is to go up to 1500
chemical qualities.
products, which will
For
have
example,
a strict quality control
It
order.
must not
And
absorb
all
water.
production in India or all goods sold in India,
It
even
must
if imported,
not
will all
react
have
to the
meet
carbon
those exacting
which is
quality
there in the
standards,
atmosphere.
so that the
Because
people
all
of India
that
get a
will
fair
affect
deal.
the
And our whole
durability,
mindset
the
for
life
quality becomes
of
How do you
the
enforce that?
statue.
to. The quality
So,
control
with
orders
all
are enforced
those
at every
qualifications,
point. So if
we
any
got
imports
these
come in
stones
there,
first
they are
collected.
enforced at the
Those
customs
stones
at the
came
borders.
from Jaipur.
Within India, we do
They also
keep
came
doing
from
quality checks for
south.
goods being sold in the market.
Krishnashila.
We pick up samples randomly from
Granite,
shops and get them quality
mentioned.
tested. We also
And they
ensure
were all
that goods that are
tested by
sold have
National
the mark
Institute of Rock
of
Mechanics.
BIS, the Bureau of
It's
Indian
the Government
Standards.
of India
So
Institute.
Bureau of Indian Standards for all
specializing
goods
only
which are
on
non-food
sort of
products
doing
and
the
the
tests
FSSAI,
of various stones and
for all
determining their
food-related
strength.
products. These two
It is in
organizations,
Mysore,
we have now centered
Karnataka.
all the quality.
So all
control
these stones were
aspects.
tested.
Earlier there were many different
And
bodies.
after
AGMA
that,
would do something
3
for
stones
agricultural
which were
products. We
selected.
closed that.
One
All
from
AGMA products have gone to
Jaipur,
FSSAI.
which is a marble,
Earlier BIS
and
used to
2
do over
Krishnashila
150 food
from
products.
2 places
So
of
market
Karnataka
and
that
didn't know who to
stakeholders
has
go
are all
to.
come,
confused.
and
We've
that
now
these
brought it
3
down
were
to
given
two,
to 3
BIS and
different
FSSAI.
sculptors.
That way we've wound up all the
And
other
they at the
organizations.
moment,
We've reduced
they have been working for the
burden
last 2
on our
months,
business
and at
persons.
the moment they are
made it
working
easier
on
to
that.
do business.
Okay.
And
we
they
have
will
It must be
been
under
able to enforce
extreme
effective,
secrecy.
Oh
so that-
yes,
compliance
oh, yes.
of quality
No
control
one
orders.
visits,
I'm
no one
guessing
takes
this is going to
photograph,
come
no
under
video,
ease of
nothing.
doing business also,
Is there,
which you
and
talked
it
about,
is
where
being carved
people who are
under-
manufacturing, they have a single window to go to,
a
and they are
question
not
would,
confused as to
of
where
course,
to go.
I can understand that.
On this, India jumped
the reason
79
why
positions
all this is being done
from
is that we
142
want that
in 2015
those murtis to survive hundreds of
63rd.
years
You
from
were
now.
talking about these
Abhi
regulatory
bad rahi hai, but
mechanisms
wo
that came into
100, 150,
force.
so
How
whatever
do international
salon tak
standards
chale, you know, that
organizations
there
judge
shouldn't
that
be
okay, this is
anything
what it means
which
ease of
harms
doing
those.
business.
Why not the
But there used to be a
ashtadhatus
very
which have lasted
established
for so
World
long?
Bank
Why not
ranking
metal?
methodology.
एक तो हम
And
लोगों ने
this
मेटल का
methodology
इस्तेमाल ही
was more
नहीं किया.
stakeholder
आपको
feedback related.
जी.
जानकारी
So they would come,
होगी
they would assess
कि इस पूरे स्ट्रक्चर
processes
में
and government
आयरन
systems
कहीं
to
नहीं
engage
इस्तेमाल
with
हुआ है.
businesses.
Because
They would talk to
क्योंकि
business
आयरन की लाइफ
persons,
जो है वो
micro,
94
small,
95
medium
years
and large.
हम तो
And
1000
find out
years का
whether
टेम्पल
people are
बना
really
है.
experiencing that change.
तो
And out
अष्टधातु
of
के
that,
बनते
they would
हैं.
work out the
आपने बिल्कुल
index. And the
सही
index is
कहा.
not an
बहुत
absolute
से
number.
भगवान की
It's a
मूर्तियाँ
relative index.
अष्टधातु की
So
हैं.
you are relative
लेकिन
to
यहाँ
other
पे
countries
it was
at
thought
63rd rank.
that let us
Unfortunately, in
concentrate on the
2019,
stone.
some
The
irregularities
entire
were found
structure
in
is
a
also
neighboring
of
nation.
special stone. So
not
we would
necessarily
focus
a
on the
nation
stone
which has very
and not.
transparent
It was
systems.
debated.
So
And
therefore, they tried
finally,
to
after the debate, in
game
the trusts,
the ranking system.
some
got
of the
caught with their
same
hand in the
sages
till,
who are member of
and
the
the World
trust,
Bank decided to
they
discontinue the ranking.
expressed in
Despite
favor of
that,
the stone style.
We have continued to
More from the
rank our
durability
states.
point of view
We have
than anything
continued
else.
to pursue the
Before
path
I
of
ask the
making it
next
easier to
question,
do
here is a
business.
short primer
So really, we don't know where
about
we are ranked
the specs
relative
of
to
the
other
temple,
countries
which
since
is
the
under
ranking has stopped
construction
since
now,
19.
which is the
But I'm
area
quite
and things
confident
like
that
that.
if any
So
ranking
please
was
watch
to
this
be done
primer.
now,
The total
we would be
area
far
is
better, possibly in
2.7
the top
acres.
50.
Built
Are
up
states
area is
competing with each other in
57,000
this?
square
It's
feet.
brilliant to
The
see
height
the
of the
kind
temple,
of,
including the peak,
enthusiasm among
is
states. I do a lot of
161
interaction
feet.
with states
It
on
has
this
3
subject,
floors
on
with a height
decriminalizing
of
laws,
each floor
reducing
being
compliance
20 feet.
burden,
So abhi
engaging
aap
with the
mujhe
national
agar
single
explain
window
करें
system
that
so that
how many
business
artisans
persons
are
or stakeholders
working
have to go to
in
only
this
one
area.
website, and from there they
You
can
can
get all their
explain
approvals
the plinth and you can
and I
explain
must
the
acknowledge that
various
the states,
structures.
particularly
How
the young
long
officers in
have they been
states
working? Because
are equally
I have been
enthusiastic.
there several
It's a
times in the past
collective
15
effort.
years,
The center
and I've been
does
seeing
pride
जो
it.
pillar construction
And we
हो
are
रहे थे, and
getting probably
you know they
different
were
types
just
of
lying
response
there.
from different states.
जो
But by and
ईंट
large,
आए थे,
every
that
state
also story I
recognizes.
had covered.
But in this
जो
competitive
हर जगह
world,
से लोग लेके
you've
आए
got
थे,
to
you know
be,
that one
industry
yes,
trains
brings
में
from every village.
Otherwise,
from every
investment will
village
go to
जिसमें
another
लिखा हुआ था Ram.
Manufacturing
And
sector, let me
from-
come to that.
So I
Because,
covered that story. I mean,
ever
it's
since the
dating
Make
me
in
right
India
now. People will
has
know
been
how
given
old I
by
am.
your government,
But I covered
your
all
state
those
governments,
stories
to all
and I
your
covered
ministers,
that
to the
pillars
manufacturing
which were lying
industry.
there, and
And
that
the world is
entire
looking at
area
India
was
when it comes to,
infested
you
with
know,
monkeys.
the supply
They were
chain
like it was
factor.
scary to go and
What are the
shoot
challenges
there also.
that you
When I used
faced
to take the
initially
camera,
when
डर
you
लगता
took
था.
over?
To
What did
shoot
people
because
come and tell
पूरे
you?
बंदर
And
ही
how
बंदर
much
थे
have you
वहाँ पे.
resolved?
One
as
of
far
the
as that
reasons we
is
haven't
Well, I think
provided the
ANI is
solar
also a brand
supply
ambassador
of
for
power is
making
because because there are so many
Our own
monkeys
very own
Yeah.
news
that it's a
agency.
menace throughout
And I
Ayodhya.
think you've beaten
And you
all
can do
other
nothing about
foreign
them. There
agencies
is
in your
certain
work in
feeling
terms of
about it.
Yes.
scale, in
So
terms of
reverence.
depth of
Yeah.
So
coverage.
because of that,
And that is the true strength of
we
your work.
avoided
The
To do,
140
yeah.
crore
the solar
Indians, particularly
supply
are
of
youth.
power.
And we are a very
My
youthful
goodness.
country.
Okay, so now,
kind of new
so, you know,
ideas
the
they come
question
up
about
with,
how
the kind of
long the
innovations
construction
they
has
come
been
up
going
with.
on
There's
then
so much
I guess it's
potential in
an
India.
answer that can you
Sadly,
can
we
date
were
it
always
back
running
to
after
God
the
knows how
West.
many
We
years.
were
But
always running
actual
after the
construction
developed countries.
और कितने
The
लोग
good
यहाँ
part
पे
is
काम कर
that
रहे हैं,
has
कहाँ से आए ये
now we are looking at indigenous
artisans,
solutions
craftsmen,
to the
scientists,
multifarious
archaeologists,
problems the
जो
world
भी
has. On
specific areas
sustainability,
के हैं
on high
वो हमें
quality.
समझा दीजिए.
Everywhere we are finding our youth
First,
come
of
up
course,
with very,
the construction.
brilliant ideas.
You know,
see the
Prime Minister,
Startup
Mr.
India
Modi,
mission. We are the third largest
he-
startup ecosystem in the world today.
I mean, we
all of
don't
that
say
is
laid
truly
the foundation,
made in India,
but the
innovative products
Shubharam
or
of the construction
developed in
started
India,
by
innovative
him, and
services.
that was
Technologies
5th of
also.
August.
And
2020.
Make in India really is
So the real
a
construction,
subject that Prime
the
Minister
trust
Modi
was formed in
initiated
February of
upfront in
2020
2014.
after
And
the
over the
Supreme
years,
Court
he's been
judgment
our
in November
greatest
19.
He
And
talks
then
about it
the
at various
trust
forums.
came
He
into
encourages
being,
us to
and then
experiment.
my
He encourages
existence was
youngsters to be
recognized
willing
as
to
as
fail
chairman of this
and accept
construction
that
committee.
and go in for bigger
So all
challenges.
this happened in February.
And to my mind,
and August,
Make
Prime
India has
Minister
now
came.
got the fancy
So
of
the
India.
construction started.
I find more and more
You asked
Indian
a very good
businesses
question,
also
and in fact,
talking
I'm
about
smiling
selling
a little
domestic
bit more
products
than
with
normal. Because
talk-
today I got
hear
the news
lot
that
of,
they have got
Indian businesses saying that
3,500
we're going to
labor.
cut down our
There
import
was a
dependency,
huge shortage of
particularly
labor.
with countries
This
who are
suddenly
inimical to
happened
India's interests
because
or
of the
not
festival
very
season.
favorable to India.
Correct.
And that was
I see there's a
adversely
sense
in
of
some
pride
manner slowing
in
down
being
the
Indian. There's a
construction
sense of pride
of
in
the temple and
consuming
the
Indian
dateline which
goods
we
and
have to
services. I
stick
think
to, that
this
is
is a kind
31st
of a
of December
movement
23.
which is taking
So
rapid
today,
strides. The challenges are
3,500
always going to be where
labor
some
is
people will
working
look
day
at
and night.
the least cost alternative.
Wow.
which is working
I
on
think
all
we need
sides.
to take a lesson or two from countries like Japan or Korea.
They are not
where you
all
find a lot
working
of
here.
nationalism.
If I get the
They're
chance,
willing
I'll
to
explain
pay
you
Ji,
a
please
few
do.
rupees
that
more.
what all
Not a domestically produced
is
product.
happening.
They have a sense of pride,
The-
the nationalist
this is
spirit
the
that these are
main
our
construction
local products made
going
by our
on
local
today of
craftsmen
the
or workers.
ground floor.
And they also
which
respect
we
the
hope
fact that
to
they have to
complete
support
by
their own
December
local industry.
2023. That
This
is
can't
just
be
1 month
mandated by the
after.
government. This has to come from within.
Okay.
They
And
will
I
have
think
the
gradually,
mandapas, the Shikhar will not
pursuing
be
this
there
agenda.
because Shikhar can only come up
Prime
when
Minister
the first
Modi
and
keeps
second
talking about
story
this all the time.
is built.
That if all of us
This will
make
not
it
be
our
seen.
collective
But
decision, our collective duty
there is
to
another
support each
structure
other,
which is
support
important,
Indian produced goods and
and
services.
that is the
sky's the
lower
limit
plains.
where we can
The
achieve
lower plains,
result.
So,
just below the ground
as I was saying,
floor,
I've seen you at international
is where
forums when
the
people come to you and
story
ask
of
you about the
Ram
India story,
will
and
be
you
sculpted
very
in stone.
eloquently express
About
our hopes,
100
aspirations, and where we
murals
want to stand
of
vis-a-vis all
stone
these things. But I've
would be
also
fixed
covered
there,
these kind
and
of
that
summits,
will tell
in
the
the
story of
2000s,
Ram.
early 2000s, when
Pictorially
there
or
was a
written?
similar kind of
No,
curiosity. But at that time,
Yeah,
everybody used to
nothing
say,
written.
we want to
It is being
invest
carved out,
in your
and
companies.
the
We want to
different
produce. We want
people,
you to
the sculptors
manufacture.
are
We want to
already
bring
doing
that
that
products
work.
So
into our
birth of
country.
Ram to
But you get stuck with
everything,
rentism in
Banvas
our
and-
country.
Yes, right
stuck
up
with
to
corruption.
return to
Are those
Ayodhya
issues
and his
still
coronation.
discussed? Do you have to
That
still
is
answer
being
those questions?
done here in this.
I don't think
Below
today
that lower plains,
people are complaining about
there is a very
what used to
interesting
traditionally be
construction
our
story
shortcomings.
and engineering
There
challenge.
will certainly be issues. There'll certainly
The
be
first thing is
requests,
foundation.
demands. There'll certainly be areas where we can improve.
foundation
We
of
have
the
no qualms about
So,
acknowledging that we still have a
after
long
the
way to go.
soil test,
But they can see
was
the
noted
massive transformation
that
that's
perhaps
happened in the country
maybe
in the last 9
few
years.
hundred years
All people who come to India
back,
and engage
Saryu
with us,
was
they
passing
recognize
through
the
this
fact
place,
that Prime Minister Modi has been
almost
able to offer
touching the palace.
corruption-free
तो
environment.
क्ले soil हो गया फिर.
So
Today,
yes,
no
the
need
soil
for
because of
halals
that
or
was
middlemen
not
or
a very
public
stable
policy
soil.
managers
So the experts
to be
said
stationed in Delhi to
that
keep
the
going around the government offices to
pile
get your
foundation
work
would
done.
not be suitable.
They recognize
because
the
of
amount of
that.
digitalization
So
that has
what
happened.
we were
All approvals can be
advised
sought
by
online.
IIT Chennai, who
They recognize the
are
fact
one
that
of our
infrastructure
advisory
has seen
members,
massive growth
that
and
please
improvement
remove,
over the last few
dig
years.
15
They
meters
also
deep
recognize that this government is
in the
responsible
entire
and
area.
approachable. You don't need
remove
a
the
friend
soil,
to tell me.
just remove
if
the
you want
soil
to have a meeting
and
with me,
fill
just
it
send me
with
a
the
mail.
another soil
And,
which is called
I find merit in your
re-engineered
request, or I
soil.
find merit in the
Okay.
potential.
This
that you
re-engineered
offer.
soil is
And very often
the
we meet people from villages, we meet
recommendation
people
is
from
a
small
mix.
towns.
The
We learn a
quality
lot,
of which
we get a
is
lot of
that in about
feedback.
14 days time,
So I think the
each layer
responsiveness of this
which
government,
is being put,
the willingness
that converts
and the
itself
openness
into a
with which we are
stone-like
engaging with
quality.
stakeholders.
Acha.
So the
is
foundation
truly the
itself
calling card
is, you
of,
can take
the
it, is
government
made of stone.
at local level.
On
at,
that, we have got the raft,
state level, some
which
people
again
do
is
complain
about
of
2.5
problems.
meter.
I very
On
often
that,
talk
we
to
have
my
got
colleagues in the
granite
states
plinth,
also,
which again
when I
is
request
another
them that, look,
meter
you
and a
have this
half
backlog of
in width.
and
And
subsidies
over
you
that,
had promised or
the
incentives you have
laying
promised
of
an
the
industry,
stone,
but you haven't
Bansi part
paid
to
up,
the
and it's
stone,
giving
which is
your
the
state a
temple.
band aid.
So the temple has come up after the
But
construction
I
of
do find people
foundation,
are responsive
raft
by and
and
large.
plinth.
So very
And why
recently,
was it
I
done
met an
with
industry
such
minister
care was
who
because
first thing he did was
Central
start
Building
the
Research
conversation by saying,
Institute,
I took your
Roorkee, who
point
are
very
also
seriously
again
when you
our
told me about this,
consultants,
and I have sorted out
they
and
were
cleared,
responsible for checking
the
that
subsidy
it
claims
should be
that you
able
mentioned. I said, I
to
hope you didn't clear the
undertake
mention, the subsidy
an
claim on the
earthquake,
case that I mentioned.
which
Because that was just
will
what came
be
to my
50
attention.
times of
Obviously, there
all
must be many
records
more. He
till
said,
now.
no, we've cleared all.
Backlog
We've
is
not
all
just
gone.
done
So
the
right
one
from
thing. And I was
Nepal
immensely
to
pleased.
Ayodhya,
Now, politically,
the
we may be at
earthquake
different
intensity was
inspection.
measured
We may
Sure.
be at
till now,
different,
historically.
ideology.
Then
or,
it was simulated
against
in
each
the
other.
laboratory,
But I get great
and that
satisfaction
strength
when it comes to
was
our national
provided
interest.
to
Save and accept a
this
few cases.
foundation,
By and
raft
large,
and
the nation and the
over
people
that
in the country are on the
the
same.
stone.
Right. You know, you were
That is
mentioning
why
small towns
we
and villages.
we at least would like
and
to
we're talking
believe
about
that what we
manufacturing
have
still.
done
So the
would last for
SMEs, let me
1,000
get to that
years.
part. You
Wow.
know, there are what, 70,
So
75
this is one
million
question
or
before
80
we
million
go further.
SMEs or something like that in this country.
This soil,
How do you
ये soil
how do
आया
you keep
कहाँ से?
track about
One,
quality control?
which you
How do we
brought in.
ensure that
दूसरा,
you know, the stuff that is
if
coming
in
from
case
there
there is
quality?
flooding
Because
of the Saryu
suppose
river,
something is made,
can
like
that
एक कुत्ता बन
affect,
गया या फिर
the
बिस्किट
temple?
का पैकेट
Good
बन गया या
question.
पापड़ बन गया
Soil, of course,
and it is
you see, a
exported and if the
separate
quality
soil
is not
was
good,
filtered,
it's not just the product
and
which brings a
that
bad
was
name, it's
mixed
the
with
made in
certain
India
chemical,
label that brings a
and
bad
also
name. I'm
with
not saying that small and
little
medium
bit of cement,
enterprises have
special
bad
cement
quality,
for that
but what I'm guessing
was
is
mixed,
that maybe
and that
it
is how that
not
soil was made.
put through the
And
rigors
that
like
soil
a bigger manufacturer
was
would.
layer
So
by
how do
layer,
we-
it was
how does
brought.
India control that?
It was then compacted for
Very
about
good
2-3
question.
days.
First of all, I
Then
must tell you
a
that
sample was
we are very
taken.
sensitive.
Once the
to
sample was
concerns
approved
that
that
very
okay, this
small
has a
people will not be
quality,
able to adopt
then
this
another
quality
layer was
overnight.
put. So in the
most of our quality
foundation,
control
such
orders,
47
we
layers
give
have
a
been,
transition period.
Okay.
and that
So
makes
the-
15
The
meters.
small industry
So
is
that
given a
is
certain
how
amount of time.
it
Micro
has
industry
been,
whose turnover is
the
less
soil
than
has
5
been
crores is given a
put
certain
there.
longer
In the
period.
entire area,
Yeah.
I'm
entire
also told
area
my
of the temple.
department that
Yeah.
if you
And
come across through
Saryu
stakeholder
River?
consultation and
the
feedback,
issue of the
any
flood was
difficulty
also
that
checked.
very small people
And the
may have,
present,
let's say somebody with a turnover of
again,
20, 30
public
lakhs or
sector
50 lakhs,
undertaking,
then we
which
can
is a
even look
research
at
lab
even
of
further
CSIR.
longer transition period.
They have
Or
now
if it's only
confirmed
something which is so
that this
locally, we will
area,
look at exemptions.
the also
So we are a
the
very
level of
government,
it, the ground
listening
level,
government,
on
and
which
very
it is
happy to
situated,
engage with stakeholders
is
and find
completely
solutions.
free
I
of any
recently
flood
met
which
with
can come in
the
a
shoes
Okay.
manufacturers.
Yeah. Right.
So that is
Leather
protected.
or sports shoes.
Now we come to
There
the
was some
question
concerns
of
that they
which
had
you were
and they
saying that
highlighted that
extra
to me, they
laborers have
highlighted
been
that
brought to complete the
through
work
the
so that
press.
it's
I
done.
immediately called
The
a meeting
deadline
and we
is
got
met.
all people.
Where did they come
Traders,
from? Were they like,
manufacturers,
are they
big,
experts,
small,
carvers?
tiny. We got retailers.
I saw one
who are
interview in
doing
which you
malls
said
or
that
running,
many have come from
shoe stores.
Odisha
Yeah,
and
yeah.
from
And we had a very
Rajasthan.
open,
So
free
where
and
all
frank
have they come
discussion.
from?
Wherever
you
I
see the
felt
entire
that there were
construction,
genuine problems, we
as I
found
mentioned,
solutions to it.
we are
Wherever I
engaged here
felt
in
that
constructing.
these
Then
are
there
certain
is
things where
another
you'll have to take a little
construction
tough stand.
which is
We took
this
a tough
called
stand because
Parkota.
ultimately,
This
you're right, it's the
Parkota,
nation's
the
brand
cost
that
of this
suffers.
Parkota is 200,
Also, I think there's a
200
lot more
crores
that
more
needs to be done in terms of
than the
awareness,
cost of the
both
temple.
of our consumers and
That is the size of the
service providers
Parkota.
and
In
goods
fact,
providers.
the
That's
temple
when I
is
think
in about 2.5
friends
acres.
like you,
But
podcasts,
when
and
the
what we are doing
Parkota will
today
be
can play an
constructed, it will
important
become 8.5
This
acres.
awareness, once
That's
the consumers
like
have,
like a
they start
corridor.
Yeah,
demanding
that's
little
like
more.
a corridor.
I'm very
Of
confident
which
India's
the
image will
outer
change, our
wall
thinking will change,
will
we'll
be
start producing
completely
good
in
quality
some
products.
manner, you can say,
And
it
I've run
protects
industry
the
myself
temple.
from a very young
No
age.
one can enter
I
from
can assure you,
anywhere
Smitaji, my own
except
experience
the
is
eastern gate
quality
because
is
of
cheap.
this percotta.
Quality never costs more.
And this
It
inner
doesn't make your
wall of the
product more
percotta
expensive.
opens towards
Quality
the temple,
helps you reduce
and this is
wastage.
open. So
It
the
helps
people
you get
who
a
will
better
do the
price more often than
parikrama
not. Helps
of
you
the
capture
temple
bigger markets.
will be
Helps
doing
you
the
grow.
parikrama like this.
And
So
therefore,
this is
I
called
think
percotta.
a little more
And
training
then there
or
are
let's say engagement with the
constructions
small
such
people
as on a
to
Kuber
help them
Tila, which is
understand
a very
the
high
importance
point,
of quality
which is not
is
here
what we are
you can
doing.
see.
So we were
because it
talking
is
about
only up
shoe
to
manufacturers,
percotta.
and just suddenly
The
occurred to
Jatayu
me
is there.
to ask you this
Okay.
question.
A
That a
statue of
major
bronze,
problem. One of the earlier
which is
stories I
being
did
made
when I was
now,
working for a
ready
foreign
now for
broadcaster
installation. It
was
is
about the environment
15
issue with
feet
regard
in
to
height
shoe
and 20
manufacturing.
feet
When
in
they were
width.
dumping all their
And the
colored
Jatayu is
thing, all
looking
the
towards
waste
the
into the
temple.
rivers.
So
So that's why I
he
want
is
to come
in
to
a
that aspect.
kind
That,
of a
when you talk, when you bring
meditation
in manufacturers, retailers,
towards
do
Lord
you and
and is
exporters, do you
standing
even
here.
have
Where
that
is the
environment issue in
Jatayu,
mind when you bring them?
In most
statue being made
conversations
in
in
India?
our industry,
Oh yes, yes.
sustainability
There
is
is a
an
famous
issue today.
Okay.
I have in the morning
person,
today
sculptor, his name is
inaugurated
Ram
a trade
Sutar.
fair at Greater
So
Noida.
He's made.
they are doing.
Okay, the
Where
reason
the
is because
textile
in Southeast
industry is
Asia you see
showcasing
so
their,
many
products,
Jatayu
fashion
statues,
accessories are
and
being
they are
showcased.
so phenomenal.
And
That's
the
why I
whole
asked कि
focus of
कहीं
the
वहाँ से तो नहीं
conversation,
आ
No,
रहा
no,
या
no,
फिर-
no,
both with
Not
the
that there is
industry
anything wrong,
stakeholders,
but I'm just
the
saying
products
that
that are on
it'll be
display, and
interesting.
my own
So that is also there is a Kuber
engagement
Tila.
over there
Then there is a
was
huge
entirely
building
focused around
which
sustainability.
can
And
accommodate
after my speech, in
5,000
fact, the
devotees
chairman of the
at any point
program
of
and the
time,
chairman of the apparel
which is called
exporters
Pilgrimage
organization
Facilitation Center.
actually said
In
that
this-
today wherever we
Within the
go,
premises,
the only
okay.
subject that's
Outside Perkota,
under
Outside,
discussion
that
and
is also.
deep
So
importance is
3,500, I mentioned that.
they
only
recognize
to
that important
sort of,
big markets like European
emphasize
Union, UK,
that the
US,
labor which is engaged,
particularly
at
those
the
with whom we are
moment,
expanding
we are
our
tackling
trade
about
relations,
5-6
our free trade
constructions.
agreements.
Not just
They are
this.
Not
very,
just
very
this,
conscious
not
of the
just
products
this,
that they
but
procure.
about 5-6
Indians today have
constructions
started
in
becoming
the
very,
71-acre area,
conscious of that.
Okay.
which will
You
be
remember when
Okay.
Prime Minister Modi
So,
wore the recycled
my original
plastic
question
jacket
is
in
where did the
Parliament?
laborers
Yeah.
come
I mean,
from?
what better brand
How were they
ambassador than that
selected?
for
Yeah.
India's
And who selected them?
collective effort to
Larsen
make the world a
Toubro are
better
our
place to live in?
Yeah.
constructing
And it
agency.
created ripples
They are the
across the
implementing
world.
agency.
Okay.
Of course,
And
juxtapose
their
that
work
to
is
somebody
being
else
monitored
wearing
by
a Louis
Tata
Vuitton
Consultant of Engineers.
scarf
So,
on the floor of
they are
Parliament with a
responsible
big
for selecting.
LV written.
For
That's the
each
stark
thing,
difference.
But I think
artisans
that's
are
also
different.
India, right? That दोनों चीजें
For
साथ साथ चल सकती
iconography
हैं.
work,
दोनों
what
अवश्य
is
चल
called,
सकती हैं.
you know,
But
to,
the issue
Hindi
was only
roop,
about we
where
are in
the
Parliament.
small
We are showcasing to
are
the
created
country and our
on pillars.
countrymen are
So
concerned.
that
our
carving
deep
is done
respect
at the
for
spot.
every citizen
There
of the
are
country.
390
And I
pillars
think our
in this
textile
temple.
manufacturers
Each
certainly
temple has got
would have been happy
about
to see
pillar has,
30.
a
Yeah,
scarf made in
each pillar has
Kashmir
about
Yeah.
or a
30
scarf made
such
in Himachal Pradesh.
Yeah,
statues.
and we are seeing a lot
So
of that,
they are
the
with the
gamcha and the
cow,
gamusa
and the people who are
being worn
expert
by
in
all
that
of you
are from
ministers,
Orissa.
all of you are wearing that,
So
and
they
everybody is
have come
commenting
from
on
there.
that it's not
In
just a fashion statement, it's a
placement of the
statement
stone,
on pride in India's textiles.
The labor
Yes,
from
a lot of
Rajasthan
Yeah.
There was a
has
time, I
shown
don't know if you're
better
aware,
expertise,
the Madras
skill
lungi,
than
Madras
others.
checks.
the
Placement बोले
checks,
तो वो
but it's
ground
actually
पे
a
and-
No,
lungi
no,
whose
you
colors
see,
free,
the most
or whose
important
colors
thing
change.
is
Bleeding
since
colour.
Bleeding
temple
color.
is of
That was the
stone
US only.
only.
That was not
And
something which
the
India
stone
did out
is
of choice.
one stone is
It
placed,
was a
and
bad
another
quality
stone,
product.
then
You
third
said-
stone,
Once
the
upon
fourth
a
No
stone,
iron.
which
and
bleeded
no
color
iron.
and then became a fashion.
Only copper
Now, we don't
clips
want
are
to see
there
an India of
to
today
ensure that
which gets
they
respect out
are
of that failure.
properly
We want to
fixed
create
for each other.
Today our name,
But
for products which
there is
really are
no such
environment
thing
friendly,
that
we want to
we
create
have a
name
groove
for
and
very
then we
high
get
fashion
the stone
products.
fixed there in
We
the
want to
groove.
create
No.
a name for
It is the
the
manner in
artistic
which the stone is
value
being placed
that our
one over the
artisans
other.
bring to the table,
And that is checked by
tailors, that
Central
our
Building
designers
Research
bring to the
Institute
table.
that there is no
I meet all
space
the
left
NIFT
between
graduates,
the
the
two
National
stones.
Institute of Fashion
That is the
Technology.
work
It's
with
a delight
Rajasthan
to see some of their work.
people
I
can
engage
better.
in some of the fashion
So we
designers
got
were
from
trying to
Rajasthan,
encourage
some from
to play a little
Saharanpur,
more active
etc.
role in the training
So
of these
I mean,
budding
different
fashion
people have come to
technologies,
participate
and they
in
are
the construction of the temple.
It's
Largely,
wonderful to
of
see that
course, from
a former
Western
dean of Harvard
India,
Business School chooses to do his
Maharashtra,
wedding in Udaipur in
Orissa,
India. chooses to
Gujarat.
bring the world's top business
Rajasthan.
leaders and
Okay.
professors.
You see, आस्था
coming
तो
to
सबकी
India for
रहेगी
his
मंदिर
daughter's
के
wedding.
लिए, but
It's
there are some
wonderful to
people
see them
who
come
want
to
to say
India
कि
and shop
मेरे स्टेट का कुछ
the
है क्या?
lehengas,
Everybody
the
will want
sarees,
that,
not only
right?
for
So
themselves,
you said
but they
that
have
one of
tailors
the
who are taking the
statues is
measurement
being done
and
with a
getting
stone from
clothes for
Mysore.
all the guests. Now
So
this
obviously
makes you so
people from
proud.
Tamil Nadu,
This
which
is
there are so
showcasing
many
India.
who come,
This is
right?
going to be
अभी भी
the
आते हैं
ambassadorial
वहाँ पे I have seen
effort of
श्रद्धालु
our own
आते हैं तो वो
Indians, our
सोचेंगे
foreign
आंध्रा वाले सोचेंगे
residents
हमारा
also,
कुछ है क्या
non-resident
नॉर्थ ईस्ट
Indians who
वाले
come to
सोचेंगे
India
हमको भी
and
चाहिए
take
because
back a little
everybody
bit of
has
India
आस्था
for the rest of the
When
towards Lord
the
Ram.
Prime Minister
So
recently gave
will
that
there be
green diamond
some
to Jill
element of
Biden
everything and then
as a gift from
कोई
India.
सोचेगा that
I had so many people calling me,
शबरी का
"अभी
कुछ
ये
है
क्या
क्या?
चीज है? What is
जटायु
green
अगर है
diamond?
तो
Is it green
जटायु
in
का
color?
कुछ
But
है
it
केवट
doesn't look
वाले
green in the
सोचेंगे
photograph."
केवट का
So
कुछ
there
है
was a little bit
सब
of
लोग
confusion,
अपना
and I was
सोचते
like,
हैं कि
"What is the PM doing?
representative है
Because
कि
he's
It
from
should
Gujarat.
be
The Surat diamond industry
definitely,
is there. Why would he
in fact, in my
give a diamond which is a fake diamond?" Then
conversations
Darshana ji tweeted that this has
to
been cut
introduce
and
with
done
Prime
everything on
Minister.
that whole process is
He
from the
was
Surat diamond cutting edge
very
technology
emphatic
used in doing that, and
that
then I understood
every
that.
person
But
from every nook and
what
corner
happens
of this
when
country,
the
when
the
he
world will get
enters
along?
this
Oh,
temple,
this
he
is
should
what the
not
BJP
see
government
this
is doing.
temple
Fake
as a
diamonds को बेच रहे हैं बाहर.
Eastern Indian
No,
temple,
I think
or a
you have to
Northern
understand
Indian
what a
temple,
diamond
or a
is
Southern
first.
temple. He
As they
must
say,
see this
diamonds
is
are
the
forever.
temple
Where does that come
of the
from?
last reference
The
as far as the
diamond
faith is
actually is
concerned.
created from carbon.
He
Carbon
was
deposits.
particular about it.
So diamonds are
So,
not
the
something
first
which
thing
are
is
just floating
that
around
all
or come out
those
of the
4 lakh and more
ground
bricks which came
These
from
are
about 5 lakh
products
villages
which
all over
are
the
developed
country,
over
that
thousands
has
of
been
years
placed
sometimes.
here in the foundation.
From a very small
Amazing.
All of it
piece of carbon
has been placed
and
in
further
the
carbon
foundation
deposits keep
along
adding
with the
on that,
engineered soil.
and a diamond is
And
created.
we first
And then that
obtained
is
the report
mined,
from my teacher
that's cut and
that
polished,
it will no
and
way
that's the
compromise
diamond all
with
of
the
you have been
strength of the
wearing for all these
foundation,
years.
and that has been placed.
Lab-grown diamonds
So
are the
that
same.
answers your at least
Instead of
a
being
fraction of your anxiety
grown in the womb of
that
the earth,
every
they are
state
being
in some
produced
manner
in
is
a laboratory.
represented.
These are lab-grown
Every
diamonds.
village is represented
Yeah,
if that
every
is how
village
it
is
is.
represented.
The same concept.
Also,
You take
there
a
were
small
objectives
seed
of
which is
social
put
harmony.
under a machine.
Because
Heat.
And a lot
I'm
of
sorry,
heat and carbon is
but
deposited
that
on
is
that,
important to
due
tell
to which
you.
it keeps growing. And
Many
it
people
creates the
believe
same
that
effect
Ram
of what is happening
attained
under the ground.
the
You're
status
doing
of
it in
Maryada
the laboratory.
Purushottam
So
only
it's not a fake diamond.
during
It's
his
not even
Burn
an
government,
artificial diamond.
when he was
It's
exiled, when he
truly
went to
recreating
the
a diamond
jungle for 40
instead of
years.
from the
That's where he
Mother Earth.
attained
It's
the
being created in a
highest
laboratory.
ethical
The amount
lessons
of carbon
for
that
governance
is used, its
and
effect
even
on
for the
sustainability
universe.
or its effect on the environment
So,
is significantly lower
obviously
than the
social harmony was one of
natural
the
diamonds
So
that
the
are mined.
ecologically
and
friendly.
how is that
ecologically
represented?
friendly.
You
They
just
use
mentioned
renewable energy,
Nishad.
Solar
and
He
wind,
met
largely.
Sabrima.
Produce that those diamonds.
He met
Going
Ahilya.
forward, the idea is to
So
have
many
completely green diamonds,
people
fully
whom he
sustainable, only green
interacted
energy
with.
going into
It
produce
was
these
not
diamonds.
just a meeting.
And
Somewhere
today
in
India
that
has
was a
great,
message. Somewhere in that was a message that
against the rest of the
every
world
person in
the
the
larger
society
size
is
lab-grown
equal to
diamonds,
God,
where we
is
almost produce
acceptable
most
to
of it around
God,
the world.
is dear to God.
And look at the
So,
advantage.
we are
Not
going to
only
have
are we
7
now making our
temples
own
here.
diamonds, which were earlier imported
Yes, in
from
this
various
area,
countries,
just
around the world.
outside
Now we
Perkota,
can make
there
our
will
own
be
diamonds,
separate
and the
temples,
cutting and
not
polishing
together.
jobs continue to
7
happen.
separate
So it's-
temples
and
will be
also look at
built
the other aspect.
for
In gradually,
starting with
this
Maharshi
will
Valmiki,
democratize the ownership
then
and the
Vashisht,
joy of owning a
then
diamond. I think it'll
Nishad
add value.
Maharaj,
It'll add
then
a lot
Sabri
of
Mata,
people into
Ahilya,
the diamond owning
and
ecosystem.
like that
True.
7
It's, if you remember,
of
since
such
your
temples
textiles,
are to be
it's
built.
what happened was that
All
you remember when
taken
when
together.
the weaving industry was
And the
facing. In
ultimate
fact, one of the
objective
earliest
is,
programs that I
you
worked
see,
for
this is
was
the Eastern
something
Gate.
called Wither
Ji.
Textiles, which we
So,
produced in 1991.
our
When the
aspiration
when
is, and let
handlooms
us say it
and
will be a
power loom-
reality,
and when power loom
we
came
will,
and those saris were being
after
produced
this,
on the
at
power
some
loom, it was like
distance
those who
here,
had handloom said,
we
"अब तो
will
सब लोग पहनने लग जाएंगे
construct
silks. It's going to be so
like
cheap."
in South
And
India,
so what?
you
Those
have
Kanjivaram
the
saris or
welcome
those saris
gate
which only the
arch,
rich
Dwar,
could
which is
afford.
the Dwar, which
Everybody
is
could
there.
thanks to the power
So
loom
that will
came
be
in.
built.
Yes,
so that
no, I think
anybody
it's,
from south
truly
who
revolutionary that
enters
everybody got an
immediately
opportunity to have
identifies
pakoras and
that
kanji
the
bananas.
construction here is what
But at
they
the
have
same
in
time, discerning
southern India
consumers
also.
or
And a
customers
Gopuram, I'm guessing.
That is the
continue to
Gopuram.
patronize the
That's the word.
original
Gopuram is the right
hand-woven
word.
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
So
Our
that will be
handicraft and our
constructed
handloom
here.
sector
Okay.
is
What
flourishing.
are the flags
Large
in this,
export
There's
earner.
actually a waiting
thing?
list
They
in
all
some places
represent
for a
the
good
flag
Paithani or a good
represents
Patola, Patan
the
Patola. It's quite
Suryavanshi
amazing how it all
flag,
started.
because
But
the
anyway,
Lord
let me get from
belonged
fashion
to
back to
that
back to the meat and core.
Ichasu.
We were
I'm
talking about the
unable to
manufacturing
pronounce
sector. So
correctly.
lots of people say that these
and
industrial
that is-
complexes which are there or in the outskirts of the cities.
That is the bunch
The
to which he
infrastructure
belongs,
is so
and
poor.
therefore
Like even
all these flags
let me just
are
say
of
Gurgaon,
that.
if we
Right.
see
So,
just not
what
far
is the
from
role
here.
of the Shri
roads,
Ram Janmabhoomi
the approach,
Teerth
the
Kshetra
there
Trust?
are
Now,
the sanitation.
the Prime Minister
there's
appointed
just
you,
nothing available. Or we see the
I'm
Bandra
guessing to
Kurla
speed up
complex.
the
Why don't we
process,
see that?
and to be the
Shiny new buildings,
overarching
but the
person
approach
in,
will be
you know,
terrible.
to
So when
coordinate
people
everything.
come from
What
abroad
does
and they say
this
कि इतना
trust do?
shiny
Are they
building है
to
पर वो
see
जो
कि
road पे फंस
धर्मानुसार
जाते
सब कुछ
हो वो
होना चाहिए,
infrastructure क्यों नहीं है? Why
and
don't these things
रीति
city
पद्धति,
planning
all
and all
this should
go
be
hand in
followed,
hand with our
because
manufacturing
usually
and
one
our
expects
industrial
that.
sector?
And
Smitaji, I think,
the funds.
ANI
Are
has
they
a very
overseeing
wide
the
span
funds?
across the country.
Who does all that?
I don't think
My
you have moved
existence
out
came
of
from
Delhi,
the
so I
Supreme
don't
Court
know.
judgment.
Anyway.
The
I
judgment
assume it's
says
I just
that
told you
there will be a
Bandra
construction
Kurla
company
Bandra Kurla complex,
which will
I
be
went
headed
there
by
only
some
last
person.
week to see the sun.
So that is where I am
Acha.
appointed as
Family and
chairperson,
some
and in
friends.
that capacity
It
I am
was
member of the trust.
a pleasure
So
to
that
drive
is the
to Bandra
position
Kurla.
ex officio.
We glided
The
into
trust
Bandra
is
You
an
must have gone at 2 a.m.,
autonomous
sir.
registered
Ma'am, it's an
body,
evening show.
and
I
it is
went right
headed
in the
by
middle of the evening.
president of
We
the
now
trust,
have
or chairman, you want
the
to call
Bandra
it,
ceiling,
and there is
on
general
which
secretary, there
after
is
we
a
crossed
treasurer,
Rajeli, we
and
were
other trust
quickly onto
members.
Bandra ceiling.
And it
When we
functions
came out
like any
near
other
the
autonomous
ONGC
society.
we now
And
have
they are
another additional
responsible
bridge that has come
You
up.
for
did not have
the
a red batti car.
administration,
Tell me
not
now. Did you
during
have a red batti
constitution,
car?
they will be
Bombay, I used my
responsible
own
for
Mumbai, I
ever.
used my own car.
You don't
I
have
don't
a-
even use
They
the car.
are
Okay.
responsible to
So,
ensure
and even
that
in Delhi
the
for that matter, I use my
management
own
takes
personal
place.
car.
They
Really?
will
You don't
ensure
have a
that
red-
the
red
crowd
batti wali
management
gadi
is
and
no red
proper.
batti
nobody
and
putting the
They
car
will
car is
ensure
standing
that
right
the
outside, get
pilgrims
somebody
have the
to check it out.
facility
It's
which
my
is
personal
required.
vehicle I bought
That's
from
why.
They
Bangalore.
will ensure that the funds
It's a
are
hybrid,
properly
it's
used for the
environmentally,
purpose it is intended.
friendly and
So
You used to have
entire
an ambassador
thing,
car
and
also
it
at
will
one
be
point of
audited
time, I
also.
still remember.
So
we
the
have a
trust
master
functions
for many
in
years.
some manner.
Then the
Because
Fiat,
it's
then
a
the
charitable
118
trust.
NEs.
Yeah.
And do you remember the Contessa, which
Obviously,
came
as the
out of the
charitable
ambassador's
trusts
True.
are,
I've seen you
they
in at
are,
least 3
subject
types
to
of
some
cars.
taxes
Yes.
of that.
the different
So they are
versions of
responsible
both,
for
all types
presentation
of
of
cars.
their annual
Yeah.
budget,
But right now
annual
I'm on
expenditure,
hybrid
and
car.
audit.
Hybrid car. Excellent.
Since
Not
ever
a
since
single pie
2015,
has come from
Uh-huh.
any government
I had Nitin
agency for
Gadkari
the
ji in the
construction
show,
of
and
the
he also
temple.
came in a hybrid
That
car.
Ours
So
will
I'm very
not
happy
come
that
also.
you've done this.
They're
Amazing.
I think Prime Minister
Everything
Modi
which has
himself
come
is
and
very
the collection
conscious
up
that
front till
we
now,
all need to
which is a
be
unique
messengers
cooperation
of the
of the people of
So
India.
let's come back to the
From
infrastructure
almost
thing.
again
so I think
every
if you go to
village
Bandra
of
Kurla
India,
complex now, you
about
go straight from the highway
3,500 crore
onto a flyover
has been
which
collected.
takes you out at
And it is
in the
there
middle of
in
Bandra
the
Kurla complex,
accounts
and
of the
ICICI
trust.
are there.
Monsoons, there's water
So,
in the
and they are
highways.
responsible
I
for
come
it.
from Mumbai.
Small
I've
and
lived
large
there all my
sums are
life
coming from
Yeah.
for the
Mostly
last,
it has come from the small
6
people.
decades.
A coupon was
And,
given for 100
This
rupees.
is not something that's happening
About,
today.
I
Mumbai
am
has
told that
3 or
more
4
than a lakh
spurts of
voluntary workers,
in every season.
they were
During
given
those
the
3 or
receipt
4
books.
spurts,
They went
if
round the
at the
various
time of high rain,
panchayats.
the high tide is also
They
there.
talked to the people.
combination of
And
that
those who contributed,
is,
they collected
lethal. You
money.
can't do anything about
They
it.
then deposited
Whatever,
that at the
one
district
young,
level, then to the state
person may
level,
suddenly
and
say,
then to the
and blame the
And that's a
Mumbai
pan
corporation,
India
which I
program
think is
that was
very
done.
Completely, yeah,
ridiculous
more
because
than 4 lakh.
that
In fact,
party,
one
his
estimate
party
is
used to run
that
the
more
Mumbai
than
Municipal
5 lakh
Corporation for
villages
decades.
where
The fact of the matter is,
or
in the high
people
tide,
went there,
Mumbai has several
explained the
low-lying
purpose
areas.
of the temple,
The evacuation
and then
of water
said that
becomes
if you wish
impossible
to
because if you are
donate
evacuating water,
anything,
it has to
you
have
are welcome to
outlets.
So then anybody
And the
who
Mitti
feels
River
that it's
which
an
is coming
eastern
in
or
and
northern
the
temple
Arabian
knows
Sea,
now
all are on
that
high
the
tide.
brick was
The
also
evacuation of water
something
just
which came in
doesn't have
from
an
different
outlet.
lakhs
So
of
it's something which will need to have a
people
more
worked on that.
technological
The
solution.
bricks came from
Something
different
which will
parts of
have
the
to be
country. the money
assessed
for
and maybe we'll have to
construction
spend
came in from
billions
all
of dollars
parts
to
of the
find
country.
and
So it is
operate on some
representative
other
of a
part
pan-India effort that went into
landmass,
building
which
this.
is not
Security,
easy
sir,
given the
could you
high
tell me
volume of
how
water, the size of
secure and
Mumbai,
what are the
and the
arrangements
fact
which
that we
are
are an
being made
island
that
city.
it will
All three
it will be
sides
absolutely
we have
100%
water.
secure, because everybody
Here, sir,
knows that
इसमें क्या होता है
you
that
know
there
there's
are
a
many
history
people, like
to
what
it
you said,
and
that this is
a
always
past and a
it's
present and a
it's
future.
it's
Soft
an endemic
target.
problem because
Ji.
of the way the
So
city
the
is
security is in
the,
two parts.
the
One
the
is
formation
the
of the city.
security
But then the expectation
within
from your
the
party is
temple
always that कि ये
or
नहीं करेंगे
within
तो और
the
कौन
building
करेगा?
premises.
You get
Very
that?
true, and which
That
is why
is
you'll see the
entirely
amount
that
of
of the
infrastructure that's
trust.
coming up. Look at
The
the
trust
number of
will have
metro
its own
lines that have
arrangement.
come up all
Yeah.
across the country, particularly in Mumbai.
For
Come and have a look at the
ensuring
coastal road.
that everything goes
It's
as
a
per their
marvel.
plan,
It's an engineering
their
delight.
scheme. But
There
the
used to be
entire
talk of a
security
trans-harbour
that
link
has been entrusted
connecting Mumbai, the island city, to the
government of
mainland.
Uttar Pradesh,
We have been hearing about the
and
trans
they
harbour
have formed a
for at least
special,
30 years.
like
Connecting the
SPG
Indian
here
Mumbai
in Government of
island
India,
city
which
to the
takes care
mainland.
of VIPs.
And this has
they
transformational impact
have
on the
formed
future
a
of
special
Mumbai
wing
and will open up
within
the
the
mainland
police system,
for expansion
which
and
will be
growth, something which
responsible
Mumbai is
for the
starved of,
security
being an island city.
of certain
It
specified
took
temples.
Prime Minister
This is
Narendra
one
Modi's
of them.
government to come in.
And they have
It took
already
Devendra
placed
Fadnavis,
those constables
our then
now
Honorable Chief
in
Minister,
the
to
within
take
the
bold
temple
decisions.
premises.
Right.
And
So now
voila,
let me
today
get to the part
it's a
about
reality. It's
how
nearly
you were
complete.
picked and
And
chosen
in the next few
for
months
this task.
will be inaugurated. I
You hung
hope
up
at
your
the hands of
boots
the Honorable Prime
in
Minister.
19.
It's going to
in
completely
2019 and
revolutionize
you must have
the
thought कि अब
Mumbai
मैं gardening
story,
करूँगा.
the Mumbai growth
वो
story.
तो आपके नसीब
So
में
you get
नहीं.
the coastal road
So then you get
connecting us to
you
the
get this
through a tunnel to
how
Marine
did this
Drive.
come? I mean, it has to be
You
a
go to the
divine
eastern
intervention.
side
नहीं तो
from
to
Nariman
get this
Point, and from there
task,
get on to the Trans Harbour Link.
it's
Honestly, I have mentioned at
A journey
other
from, let's say,
interviews also.
Juhu or Andheri to Pune,
I really
which at
never thought
one point of time
that
would take
this
5 or
task
6
will
hours.
come my way.
When Nitin Gadkari was the PWD
Because
minister, he
the
brought the
judgment was also
Mumbai-Pune
not there.
Expressway,
So there was no
which cut
opening,
it
there
down
was no question.
significantly,
To tell you the
but
truth,
still had the
people
problem
of
of access
my
on
generation,
both sides,
even
from
your
Mumbai to Panvel
generation,
stretch,
younger generation,
and there the Pimpri to Pune
and
stretch.
many generations
But
who have
now,
gone,
with
they
PM
never
Gati Shakti
ever
in play,
thought
a novel
that the
initiative of Prime Minister
Ram
Modi,
temple will be a
we are
reality.
looking at
I agree.
end-to-end connectivity in
It
whatever
was
project.
not there.
So now we will be
The
able to,
dream
let's say,
came
from
true
Andheri,
only
go
after
up to Pune
2014-15
in under 1.5
that
hours.
there is a possibility
That is going to be
of
the
a
transformation of
because
India.
it had come
I don't
up
know
to
if
the
you've
Supreme
been to
Court
the
level.
Delhi-Mumbai Expressway at all.
There
Yes,
were
I have.
My God,
all
I went
kinds
to
of
Alwar
efforts
yesterday
for
in 2 hours.
reconciliation
Take 4 or 5
that
hours.
I've done it
Supreme
till
Court
Jaipur and it was
sponsored.
fabulous.
It
Yes.
didn't
And
come
Jaipur,
through.
the last
Again,
stretch
there
is
was
still not done.
disappointment.
Yeah, it's not done.
Then the
But then
Delhi-Gurgaon
finally,
stretch is still
unanimous
not
judgment.
completed.
It takes 3
So,
hours from
when the
Jaipur
judgment
to
came, there
Gurgaon
was a
and then
position
3
which was
hours
there for
from
the
Gurgaon
chairman
to
of
India
the
Gate.
Pardon me, I've also done that. It's not 3
It
hours
is
on the last
horrible.
stretch.
I just
But
am
having said that, that
casually
is also
talking
being
to
expanded.
Mr.
And
P.K.
the idea
Mishra,
is
who
that you'll
the
do
principal
Jaipur in about
secretary.
2.5
Now,
hours. You'll do Mumbai
And
from
I
Delhi
mentioned to him
in under
that
12
Mr.
hours.
Mishra, you have
possibly
given
even
me the
10.
chairmanship.
Now let me give you the
that
dimension,
Prime
the
Minister has
deep
given me
thinking
the
that Prime Minister Modi
chairmanship
brings
of
to the table.
Though
the
roads don't come under
present
you, but
Pradhan
road
Mantri
sports
Sangrahalaya
industry,
and library,
unless you have
which is
those
good
two,
enough.
your mantralaya
But
can't function either. So that's why
maybe
I am coming to you, because
that's
in case
not
my
the kind of
viewers
thing
say,
I was
"आप पीयूष जी
expecting."
को क्यों मैट पे डाल रहे
And
हैं?"
in my very
But that's the reason
casual
I'm asking you.
No,
conversation,
Smita ji, bear in
because in my mind,
everybody's
the thing that was working was
everybody's
some kind of
pitching in.
governorship
Yeah.
or something like that, which normally comes to a
Frankly, it's not
civil
2 or
servant.
3
Yeah.
ministries. It's
So
all of us
I said,
collectively.
well, you
The whole
can
of the
think
government,
of the
which is
Ayodhya
impacting
temple.
the India story.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
Dr.
perhaps
Jaishankar, who was in
mentioned
your
that
show
to the
earlier,
Prime
with
Minister.
this remarkable work
And then the
under
Prime
PM's
Minister was,
guidance on
in
our
a way,
international
this was
engagement,
information
is
to him
truly
that
phenomenal.
I would
Without
be
that, I
willing to
couldn't
work.
have done this kind of exposure.
He asked
Your
the
interna-
Home
Yeah.
It's
Minister
a collective effort
to
of everybody. If
verify
Purushottam Rupalaji's
with
animal
me,
husbandry
check with
department
me
hadn't given
whether
enough support,
such
I
a
couldn't have
job
grown
would
in
be acceptable.
export of fishery,
So I got a
fishing,
call from
fish
him
products or
that,
meat and other products
would you
to
like
such
to
great
take this
extent. If
work?
agriculture
And
hadn't done such wonderful
I said
work,
yes.
we couldn't couldn't have got such
But
massive
at the end of the day, I do believe what
our
he said.
Annadatas wouldn't have made us self-sufficient.
That it was
We would have
all
still been,
divine.
import
It
dependent.
came almost everything in
on
about
food
10,
grains. So I
12
think
days.
everybody
the
is
chairmanship
collectively
of
pitching in.
this
Our tourism
construction
minister, our
committee.
railway minister, our
And
culture minister.
something which was never thought of,
You name
something
the
which had
department.
never
Skill
occurred in my
development,
mind,
education.
and that
There's
came
not a
my way.
single element
So
of
yes,
government which
it is
cannot
true.
collectively
It
have
is
transformational impact on society.
Since you
divine
mentioned external
blessings.
affairs, let me get
In
to
fact,
the dragon in the room, elephant in the
I
room,
was
China.
once
The trade deficit has
talking to Ma
crossed over
Amritanand
$100
Mai.
billion.
You may know.
Imports
Yes.
from China have declined,
you know,
but
they,
it's
yeah,
still at 22%.
lakhs and millions of people have
So for
been
most
hugged
people,
and
it's a little
blessed by
confusing.
her.
Is China
So I
a
mentioned to her
competitor?
that
Is it
I
a
am
rival?
doing
Is it
this.
an enemy? What is it?
She
We
immediately
are all working on a
smiled
World
and
Trade
said
Organization
that this
open
is the
government,
job.
open trading systems.
She used the word
and goods and services
समर्पण
are coming
करके
in from
पूरा
all
कर
over the world.
सकोगे. Meaning by
Very often,
just surrender
we are
now to
told
the
you
Lord.
should not look back. To
Then
what
only you
happened
can
years ago.
complete
You've been
this
in
work.
government 9
If
years
you
and all. I
don't,
would like to
you
point out
cannot
to you
complete this work.
that
And the surrender
those who
meant that
do
you
not,
must now not
listen to the
be
lessons and learn from
unduly
the lessons of
perturbed or
history.
disturbed
Do so at their own
by
peril.
some
And look back
criticism,
at our
by
history.
some,
Way
let's
back
say,
in
people
2004,
who come in the way
when
and
Mr. Vajpayee
stop
was
the
the Prime
progress.
Minister.
So
India's
just
trade
do it
deficit
with full
with
samarpan.
China was just about
Frankly,
$1 billion and a
that
half
is the message that I am
dollars.
trying to live with.
Submerge yourself in the
That
task.
in
That's
10
all.
years
Yeah.
Right.
under the UPA
So,
government.
I
it
have
grew
I've seen you
3,300%.
in various
33x,
working in various
33
capacities.
the trade deficit
You know,
grew.
when you
Now,
were abroad,
the
when you were
UP,
in
I don't
India,
know what agreements
as an
the
IAS
Shahzada
officer,
did with the Communist Party of
the
China.
skills of an
I don't
IAS
know
officer
why they
is,
killed our
you know,
domestic manufacturing
if
in
you
so
were to
many
just
sectors.
broadly say is
They
systems
killed the
and
watch sector, they killed
you
all
know, to
consumer
work,
products,
in
but
those
encouraged
systems.
more and more free
But this
exports from
requires
China
you to
come.
break systems,
In fact, they
create
even
new
kept
systems.
reducing import duties, which became
your
a
expertise
great
was
opportunity for China to
civilians
wedge their way
and
into the Indian
ordinary
market.
people ke saath
Very often with
politicians,
substandard
politicians and
products.
ordinary.
Very
Right, those
often with
pathways.
large-scale
These are new
manufacturing
pathways.
that they do
So
in
kahan
China,
se wo skills
they
aayi
could
aapki?
beat Indian
पता नहीं
manufacturers
आई
all
भी
over.
है कि नहीं,
And they
I
did
don't know.
competitive pricing. Imagine
But
now, 9
yes,
years later,
this was totally different.
despite the economy
The
growing
first
so
challenge
significant,
was there right in the
after all,
first
ultimately,
month.
if the demand for
When
goods
I
and
suddenly
services
realized
grow with the size
that
of the
everybody I was interacting
the
with,
fact that our Indian consumers
people of
want
Ayodhya and the
services or
trust
want
and
goods,
everybody. So
they will look
they
for
all rightly thought,
opportunity
very
wherever they
rightly
can
thought,
from India.
they had
Wherever
done
India
the
cannot
agitation.
feed their requirement, they will look
They
for
had fought for the
opportunities
temple.
from outside the country.
And
So
now
China
when
has
the
benefited from
job
it,
has come
so
for the
much so that
construction
there
of
were
the temple,
areas which
Koi
we should
should
have
go to
focused
them.
on many years ago,
Correct.
which
It
was
should
not
not
done
come to
in
a person
previous
like
governments.
me.
Prime Minister
Though
Modi in
you
the
are
last
not
few years
really a
has been
Delhi
focused
wala, you are from
on
UP
making
Yeah,
also.
I
India
am, but
stronger
they
here,
wanted somebody
particularly
who is part
look at
of
the
that.
PLI
Correct.
schemes,
Okay.
production
And it's
linked
understandable.
schemes. We are looking at
Yeah.
sectorally
So there was
where we
little
need
bit
to
of
expand
adjustment
Indian
issue.
manufacturing
And replace
at
China?
scale.
It did
It's
take
not about replacing
about
China.
month
It's more
or two
about
to define that where
ensuring
you stand and
resilient
where I stand.
supply chains. Wherever
And then
possible,
we got
becoming
used to.
dependent
So
only on
it's
India
a
ensuring
situation where these
self-sufficiency
strange
so that
bedfellows
the
do
lessons we
survive.
learned from
Okay.
COVID.
So
But then I
Again,
guess
lessons from history
the weight of
are
the
not repeated in the future, that we
thing
are
was
starved
that,
of
you know,
goods
it was loaded in
which
your
we don't
favor
have
because the Prime
sufficient
Minister
supplies
picked
of.
you. So everybody knows you're Mr.
Tell me,
Modi's man
sometimes
there.
it's confusing
So
for
I
people.
guess that made
Is it
matters.
Vasudeva
It
Kutumbakam?
could
Is it
be.
makes
It could
India
be.
self-reliant?
I would not say that.
Where do they
that
they
is
come into
not-
conflict
the
at all?
perception is there,
Do we
very
see
correct
Vasudev
perception, I would
Kutumbakam
say,
only
that they
to
think
help
that
and
this
to push our
appointment has
products,
been
or do
done
we
by the
see
Prime
that
Minister.
interdependence?
Which is true.
And what about
Yeah.
Vishwaguru?
Which is
I
true,
want to
there
come
is
to
no
that
doubt
too.
about it,
Because you
because
had said that
it mentions in the
we
trust
think like a
that are
Vishwaguru,
there.
we are already thinking
But
like a
the
developed nation.
adjustment issues
So is
are
that,
not just
isn't
with
it
the
presumptions
people who are
presumptuous for a
Ayodhya.
developing nation
It
to
was a
already say
question
that हम
of
Vishwaguru
teamwork.
हैं?
Let me tell you, the
Smitaji, all
biggest
three
challenge, and if
coincide.
it becomes successful,
Vasudev
it will be not
Kutumbakam
because
is at the core
it will
of our
be because
philosophy.
of the
world is one
teamwork
family. We
which
believe
has
that
developed,
we have
the
to be
culture which has
respectful of the
developed. I have
rest
to
of
speak
humanity
to
and the
L&T.
rest of the world.
I
We
have to
believe
talk
in
with
friendly
TCE,
relations. India has never had an
consultants.
expansionist
I have to
approach.
talk
Right.
with
India's always
other
been friendly with
architects.
everybody. We
I have
always
to
try
talk
to
with
find
various
solutions
ministries.
through dialogue, diplomacy.
So it
We've never
was
gone to war
coordination.
as an
The
address.
I
In
would
that
say the
spirit,
best part of
Atmanirbhar
this
Bharat,
was
or being vocal
that
for local,
wherever I
is
went,
also about
whosoever
a certain
I
amount
met
of
for any
confidence
cause,
in our own
with
manufacturing,
any
our own
request,
skills,
it
our
was
own ability to
forthcoming
meet the
without
needs
any
of Indians,
question.
because that is where we give
I don't
jobs
have
to
to
our
give
young
example
boys
whether
and
it was
girls. That is where
railways,
Indian
whether it was police in
opportunities of
Uttar Pradesh,
investment, trade,
for the movement of
all of
trucks,
those come in.
or
But when we
railways
talk
for the
of
movement of
self-reliance,
granite
we are
from
not
the southern
closing
India,
India's doors to
our
international
supplies of
If you at all ask me, I think we are opening them wider.
stones from
I
Rajasthan.
believe
From Sri Lanka
in
also.
the Michael
sir.
Porter
Sri
camp,
Lanka, of course,
वहाँ से
every
जो
country
सीता का
or
yeah,
every
they
economy
gave that
will have
small
certain
piece.
strengths.
But
what I
The
mean is like
competitive
it's
or
a
comparative
collective effort
Yeah.
of
advantage
so many
that
people.
different countries or different
Like,
economies bring to the
but
table
to coordinate
will
all that,
determine who
a
will rule the
massive,
roost
massive
in
task
different
which was
quarters.
on your shoulders.
I
Of course,
was
there will be
fortunate,
certain strategic
but
sectors
I-
Were you
where you
scared
may
a
not
little
be
bit,
the
sir?
most competitive,
कि
but you
अगर
will
ना
still
हो
want to be
पाए,
self-reliant.
अगर मैं
That's
ना
more
कर
a
पाऊँ,
strategic
थोड़ा-
I think at the moment
But
I am worried
otherwise,
now.
we have to
Because
encourage
of the
Indian
time
domestic
frame.
manufacturing.
Yeah,
We must
I
try
am
and
at the moment
create
definitely
high-quality goods
concerned
at
that I have to
scale
deliver
so that
by
we
31st
are
of
not
December
overtly dependent on the
23
rest of
and
the world.
later by 20.
But at the same time,
Right.
the consumer demands
There the progress is
affordability,
not
consumer
all
demands
that according
good
to
products
my
at the best price.
calculations.
And
So I'm
there
little
is an
concerned.
area where
so
it's
when the
better to
work
import,
started, I was
where
not so
economies of
scared.
scale within
I
India
had
don't
faith in
justify
God.
it, or where somebody
And I
has a
have faith in
technologically
God.
higher
So I
competitive
thought
edge,
things will
then
come.
we'll have to bring those goods from
And
and that is the spirit which has
somewhere I
helped
think I am
countries
only an
become
instrument.
developed nations.
I am an
No
instrument
country in the world
for
has become
something
a
which
developed
God
nation
has built.
without a
So
first
there is
having the
nothing more
mindset
to, as
that
far
we
as
want
my
to be a
appointment
developed
is
nation,
concerned.
which
Just
Prime
an
Minister Modi
instrument,
has
just a
in
medium
his
to
Independence
see
Day
that
address
it is
tried to
kosher.
inculcate in
So,
140 crore
our
Indians.
younger generation,
And that
I mean,
mindset,
you know,
that
you
mindset
brought
of
up that
quality,
thing
that
that
mindset
your
that
generation,
I
my
am,
generation,
I have the
उससे
potential
पहले
to
के
become a
our
Vishnu
parents'
Guru.
generation,
That mindset is the first.
they wouldn't have envisaged something
The
like
second
this.
is
that
capabilities.
होगा कि
And we
नहीं
have
होगा, नहीं
managerial
मानेंगे,
skills,
कोर्ट्स
we
नहीं
have
मानेंगी.
our young boys and
ये
girls
जो
coming up
धार्मिक
with
संस्थान
huge
है,
amount
वो
of
they won't
talent.
come on the same
So
page.
we
होगा
have
ही
that
नहीं कभी.
requisite also.
You know.
We have a
And then
large number of
the
natural
politics of
resources
it all, one political
which
party,
can make
the
us
second
self-sufficient.
political party
But
making
then
fun
there
of
are
the other
certain
party
areas
कि
where
तुम
we've
सिर्फ
not yet
manifesto
got
में
the
लाते हो,
technological
होगा
edge.
कभी नहीं.
And we'll continue
I've also
to
been
do
part of that
So
where
if
I've
today somebody
questioned
says that,
leaders
no,
कि तुम
why are
बोलते
we
क्या हो,
importing
करते तो हो
aircraft?
नहीं. You know, I
Yes,
mean,
quite
it
silly.
appeared
Yeah.
almost
Because
in
we
all
don't make
election
the
manifestos of the
manifestos,
party.
yeah.
commercial size
So
and
I've
scale
also
and
been
quality
part
that
of
are
that
made in France or
skeptical
in
gang
America.
which thought
So
that
does
it
our
would never
place
get
to
made.
it.
कि कुछ
So
और ही बना
different
दो
countries will
उस
have
जमीन पे अगर नहीं
will
बना
have a
सकते
competitive
तो. I
edge
even remember
or a
so that when
quality
I
edge
used to
or
do
a
the
technological
I
edge
used to do
which we
news
should
for
leverage.
Doordarshan in those
Free
days
trade
and when the
agreements
Babri
or
Masjid
economic
fell.
partnerships are
The
about
very next day I was
having
voicing a
open,
story for the news
economies
thing and
are
I was
about
told that
competing
to call
fairly
it
and
जो
about
ढांचा गिर
giving
गया था.
opportunities to both
उसी दिन
the Indian
and
businesses
this is a
or
Congress
Indian
government
people
which was in power.
and people in the other parts
I
of the
was
world
immediately
to
told कि
compete
आप उसे
for
मस्जिद
the
नहीं
consumer
कहेंगे,
to get the
आप
best
उसे
product at the
कहिए
best
ढांचा जो
Right.
था
You know, let me make it
so
a
those who think that
move,
it
shift
you know,
a little
it
political,
was
but
just
still
the BJP, no,
with
the
your
Congress
portfolios.
government
On the one hand,
ownership
there is
the very next
Make
day
in India, there is
to
the Vishwa
what
Guru,
happened.
and you come, you are.
So I want to come back. Sir,
There was also the India shining
to
bit
your
of
years. The
political
younger
party.
generation may
On
not
the
know
other hand, what
about
we are
your
seeing now
links
is
with Uttar Pradesh. People might
the
you know,
Congress
younger
party
generation might
saying
think,
that
"अभी गए हैं
here is
मिश्रा
this
जी,
party which is
Uttar Pradesh
pompous by
नहीं
nature,
जानते
which
कि
talks about
आप
conquering the world,
you
which
were
talks
private
about
secretary
being so
to
big,
Mulayam Singh
but
ji,
where
जो
a large
chief
part of
minister
the country
थे,
doesn't have
you were
the
with Kalyan
basics.
Singh ji,
So
जो chief
the whole
minister
thing
थे.
about giving
उस वक्त
freebies
के बारे
comes
में,
in,
उस दौर के
which,
बारे में बताइए,
the Prime
and its
Minister
links
said
with Ayodhya
bravely,
and what
culture,
happened then with
your
Mulayam
party
Singh ji,
colleagues have
with
said it, you
Kalyan
have
Singh
said
ji.
it, that freebies is not the solution.
I was principal
But
secretary to Mulayam
politically,
Singh ji.
it's having a
Sorry.
negative effect.
And
Not
Will,
private secretary.
now that these
Mulayam
four
Singh
elections
ji
are coming in, will your
very
party also go
strongly
in for
believed
AVDs distributing
that
freebies?
You know, yesterday I
this
was engaging
dispute
with
is not good
ex-servicemen
for the
of a very
community,
high level,
and
generals,
therefore
major
we
generals,
must not
commanders and stuff.
recreate history. He was
in
strongly
Jaipur
of the view
as a part of my
that the
our outreach
issue
to,
of
engage with stakeholders, with the people
you know,
of India about
Ram
completing 9 years
born
of
and born at
and
that
thanking the
very
people of
place
India
is
for giving Prime
something
Minister
which
Narendra
cannot
Modi
be
and his
is
team
not proven.
and our party
In fact, I
an
recall
opportunity to serve them
in one of the
two consecutive terms with an an
smaller
absolute majority,
meetings
so we could give a
where the chief
strong,
minister was
decisive,
not there,
outcome-oriented.
one of the minister joked
One of the very
कि
interestingly, one of
आप
the
तो अभी
very
कहेंगे कि
senior
वहाँ
retired,
सीता रसोई है, वहाँ सीता जी
armed
भिंडी की
forces
सब्जी
person.
बनाती थी. You
in
see, there's
his
a place
comments,
Sita
made this
Rasoi
comment.
very
Yes.
close,
Just
which
because
is there, and
Ashok
we are
Gehlot
going
is
to
offering
preserve,
a
conserve that.
cylinder,
So
gas
that
cylinder,
Bhavan
and
bana raha hai,
or
rasoई
some
का,
people
ना?
are
that
offering this
gentleman
freebies.
said that
Please don't go
what
down
proof
that
do you have?
He was
So
advising.
yes, it is.
He said it will be counterproductive.
It was an issue.
You were
The
sitting
people
in
of
that
India are
meeting?
Yes,
smart
I was there.
and understand
And
what's
it
good
was
for
an
them.
issue.
They don't
But
want to be a
then,
Sri Lanka or a
I suppose
Pakistan.
gradually
They don't want
the
to be
country also
an
realized
Arab republic. They
that
don't want to be
this
like one of
dispute
those
must get settled.
70 odd
And
countries
the only
which are
way
today
to
facing
settle
stress.
this is through
They
the
recognize that
judicial
Prime Minister
process,
Modi
the
has
legal
made
process.
India
So उस
from a
वक्त
fragile
जब ये
5
सब
economy
जब हो रहा
10 years
था,
ago
you were principal
the world's
secretary when
fifth
that
largest
the car
economy.
sevaks
And
Yes,
very
yes, I
soon
was
to
there.
be amongst
I
the
was
top
sitting in
3
the
countries,
control room.
top 3
When
economies
they
in the world,
attacked,
maybe in
yes.
the next 4 or 5 years.
Not when the Babri
He
Masjid
asked me
fell
to-
No,
down.
the car sevak
Ensure
attack.
When the first
that we
car
stay our
sevak
path.
agitation
And
took place,
Saryu
and
River mein
empowering
Gulai
Gulai
the-
brothers died
Yes.
Keep
because of
empowering
the
them
firing.
so that their
I was
basic
very much
needs are
there.
taken care of.
And I recall
And build
the
an
commissioner
aspirational
calling
India
me
which aspires
almost
for good things of
repeatedly
life,
that
spurs
there is such
our
a
young
crowd
population
here
to
that
work even
it is
harder,
you can't
earn
just
money,
cannot estimate
and get the
and
good
you
things of
cannot
life
say
for
from
them
where
and
they
their
are coming.
families.
They
And
were
that's
coming
exactly
from all
what the Prime
directions,
Minister
all
has been
villages.
focused on.
They were just concentrating.
He talked about
to
India
Ayodhya.
shining.
It
Prime
was
Minister
and it was
Vajpayee
in a
only
way
got a very
challenge
short period.
to
And bear in mind, he was
what
also
the
running a coalition
police
government.
then had
So there were
claimed
limitations to his
that
ability
not a
to
bird will
maneuver
reach there.
economic
Yeah.
policy or to
Parinda
maneuver
par nahi marega.
the mindset of the nation
That claim
to empower
was
people
in
and to
24
move in the
hours that was
direction
belied.
that
And
we have been able
you
to
could
do.
see the
Prime
attack
Minister Narendra
on
Modi,
the place.
and
It
we are
was
glad-
only
grateful
on the
to the people
appeal
of India.
of the
And
workers,
through you, I would like
the
to
leaders
truly
of the
express the
agitation,
gratitude of all
that
of us
the
in the
car
BJP
sevaks.
to
Yes, on that
140
bridge they crossed that
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah, they crossed.
And
They
confidence
reached.
they have
They were
reposed
right
in us,
there.
the
But
blessings
only
they have given
after
to
the
the
appeal
Bharatiya Janata
from
Party,
the leaders of the movement
again and again,
that they
particularly
decided
the
to
absolute
withdraw
majority,
the
because-
first time.
because
Yes.
of which we could
and
actually
of course,
bring
the
But
about
did you
Yes.
at that time feel
transformational
that
change in the lives of
Mulayam
our
Singh
people.
ji didn't
After all,
realize or
could you
that this is too big
give
even
me
for
any
him
justification?
He was
That
worried.
for nearly
He
7
was
decades
worried
after
because he
independence,
thought that it would
we
be
had
very
half our
difficult to
country's
control.
population who didn't have a toilet.
But then there is, you know,
And had to go
in
to the
politics
fields.
there is a
You-
commitment.
Can you explain
of a
to me
certain
that
position.
8 or 9 crore
And
children,
very few
3.5
can
crore
then introduce
families
corrections
did
in
not
that
have electricity in their home.
Once you take the path,
And
he had
for
taken the
years,
path
nobody
in
did
which
anything about it.
opposition
How can
to
you
the temple
justify that
was part of his
water? And
administrative
most doctors tell us that
arrangement.
that's the biggest cause
part
of
of
disease.
his, let us say,
Only 3 crore
running
families in the
governance
country
issue
had
that
water
there
from
must
a
not
tap,
be
Nal Se Jal,
temple constructed
till
at this stage.
2014.
And then
And in a
comes
short
Kalyan
time, we've
Singh ji.
increased it to 12
And
crore. Another
he
2.5
doesn't
years
replace
from
you.
now, every
Usually
home in
ऐसे ही
the
होता है
country
ना,
will
chief
have
ministers
water from
आते हैं
their
वो replace
tap.
कर देते हैं.
Now,
But he
Nal Se Jal, the Jal Jeevan
had you
Mission
there.
has got has a transformational
At that time
impact
what
on
happened
potential
sir? उस वक्त
on the
when
health
you were with
and the
Kalyan
lives
Singh
of our
ji, मेरे को
people.
समझ नहीं
Many
आता that
don't realize what
I
it
just
means.
feel
Some of
history
us
was not
we
fair
were, such insulated
Kalyan
that we
Singh
don't
ji.
realize
Somehow I
that
feel
unless
that
water comes. You know, I'll
what
tell you
happened?
one
Kalyan Singh ji,
anecdotal experience.
as
I'd
long
gone
as
to
I
cover
was
the
there,
election in one place
I
and
was
I
there
said,
till
"यहाँ से
about
तो
1992.
नहीं जीत सकते. BJP is not going to because traditionally they have voted for the Congress.
Believed, of course,
मतलब for generations
no doubt
they
about
voted, so
that,
there's a muscle memory kind of a
that
thing.
the
You know, when they go
temple
to
has
vote,
to
they
be
will
constructed.
automatically vote.
He was committed that he would
It
deliver
was
the
later
temple.
that I realized that no, they are voting for
And
the
in his
BJP
own
simply
manner,
because of the
he
gas
had promised
connections
the
that
government
came.
of
And
India
something that we
that
take for
there will
granted,
be no
what bothers
disturbance,
us
but the
in the
temple will be
cities,
constructed.
that you had
Yeah.
a waiting list
It
for
did
a
not
gas cylinder
come
maybe,
through, and when it
that
came,
you had to buy it in
when the
black,
Babri
but it was
Masjid
available.
fell,
But
he
for
was very
those
much the
people,
chief
for them to
minister.
get a gas connection
I
and
must
to
say
get
to
gas in
his
the
credit,
house.
not
And the
many
youth
know
was voting. So I was like, why
that
would a young
when the
man vote?
police and
उसको
the
तो क्या फर्क
central,
पड़ता है कि गैस
police
है कि नहीं घर
particularly
में, पानी आया तो नहीं,
asked
because
permission
it's the
to
woman who
fire.
does it.
स्मिता जी मैं एक करेक्ट
It
He
matters.
एक
refused.
छोटा सा करेक्ट कर दूं
The Home
शॉर्टेज
Secretary
भी रहती
of
थी
that
सिलेंडर्स
time
की अगर आप याद करो
Yeah.
asked
आप
him
या
that
मेरे
look,
घर में हम 2
if
सिलेंडर
fire,
Correct.
firing
एक
is
खत्म
now
होगा दूसरे को
necessary.
भरोसा नहीं है
Yeah.
क्योंकि
Kalyan
रजिस्टर
Singh,
करना
as a
पड़ता था
brave chief
Yeah.
कब
minister
आएगा वो
said,
तो दूसरा
bring
सिलेंडर
the fire.
Yeah.
अब ऐसे सभी
Write
परिवारों
whatever
को
you
तो
want to
ये सुविधा
recommend.
मिलेगी
Then I
गरीबों
will
की
write
किसने चिंता की थी
that
आज तक.
I
तो
am
सोचती थी,
ordering that
why
there
would a
be
young
no
chap?
fire.
Because it was the responsibility
So he
of the
did
woman
right.
कि वो
The file
she would
contains
get
his
the
order.
firewood and
I'll tell you
cook.
why the
No
young man.
bullet will
आपको
be
पैडमैन
fired
पिक्चर याद
on
है?
a crowd of course.
पैडमैन में मुर्गन की स्टोरी
So
है
that was his
yeah,
faith in
तमिलनाडु के
religion.
युवा की.
Yeah.
Of course, the
पैडमैन में
temple
आदमी को पीड़ा
came
थी
into being after
कि
the
मेरी
judicial
पत्नी को
intervention.
Yeah.
But Kalyan Singh
sanitary pad
was of the firm
It's the
view
same
that
thing.
if he was
Doctors tell
given
me that
few more
cervical
years,
cancer in women
he would have
is
delivered
largely because of
in a
these two
peaceful
problems,
process.
toilet
But then the
and
government
sanitary
was,
pad.
dismissed,
Pradhan Mantri
suspended,
Narendra
and
Modi
later
ji
dismissed. So he had to go.
Coming from
Where
a
were
very
you when the Babri
humble
Masjid
background
came
and
down?
very
Yeah.
conscious
When
of his
Babri Masjid came
responsibilities
down,
to
I
the
was
poor of
chairman
this
of
country.
Greater Noida.
The less privileged.
I was
marginalized
transferred in
sections, the
September of
persons
that
who have
year,
been
and
discriminated for so
it
many
fell in
years.
December.
Why did you fall out of
Has
favor
brought
with
sanitary
Kalyan Singh
pads
ji?
in the country.
Oh, not at all.
Available
Not
at
at
one
all.
rupee.
Okay.
Oh,
Without a government subsidy. They have been
I mean,
sold at the Jan Aushadhi stores.
Yeah.
So
there
that
is no
a
question.
poor
He
lady
was
can get for
a very
100
sad
rupees in a whole
person.
year.
When
Security from
in the middle of the night,
this,
there were 2, 3
the
other
diseases
ministerial
that come
ministers.
with
I was
not
called
having
and
that.
I think the
they said
men
that
also recognize
by
that
that
how
time my family had
indignified it was
shifted
for
to Delhi
somebody
because
to
of
go
my
to
children's
the fields
education.
for toilet.
Yeah.
So they
And you know, the
said
thing is
that would you like to go
one or
closer
two
to
whom I
Delhi?
spoke to, they said their
Because now your
grandmothers
family is
died
not here.
because of cancer.
Well, I realized that
because of the
perhaps there
chula,
are
you know,
greater
the
things at
thing.
work.
And then
And so I
the
said,
Sarpanch
yes,
told
I will
me
be happy
that
if I
there
am
were
given
girls who
anything
were
in Noida
raped
and
when they
Greater
went
Noida.
to the
Well,
you know, to the
yes.
forest.
If you had
Rajasthan में
taken,
देखिए
I'm
आज
looking
के
back
कितनी problems
at
है
your
इस
career.
So that
if
Labhasi
you had
people,
continued as
people don't
principal
realize
secretary
that how
with
these
Kalyan
small
Singh ji,
things benefit.
would
Anyway,
you
let
have
me get back
advised
to
him
Let me
what
give
he
you a
was
differently
small
on that day
experience I had only
when the
10
Babri
days
Masjid
back
came
because
down?
it has
No.
touched a chord in my life.
I would have
And
definitely
in my
advised him that
heart
there
and
should be
mind
no
both.
firing.
I'd gone to
For the
Alwar.
simple reason that you cannot
And,
fire a crowd of lakhs,
met the local people
not
there.
thousands. And you
I
cannot
tell you, when
control.
you go to the rural areas,
And
you meet the
there
villagers,
is
you meet the
another
farmers.
factor to it.
They share
Even
their own
those
experiences.
who were
They tell you how
responsible for
important,
law and order,
how
I'm speaking
impactful
particularly
that
of the
2,000
police,
rupees coming in the
majority
pocket
of them
without paying a bribe
believed
every 4 months so that they get
in
6,000
some manner or the other.
can be when they really need
Their
that
duty
little
was
bit of money
different,
to
but
buy
their
seeds
faith was
and
different.
sow their fields.
That was, in fact,
how critical
you
that
should
money
recall
can be
the
when
events
they really
that
need to
evening after the
maybe
firing
hire a
when Kothari
tractor
brothers
to
died.
harvest their field.
All the
Small
constables
things
in
like
the
this
in their mess did
Is
not
what
take
has
food.
built the
That is
trust
the earlier
that
incident,
Earlier
the
incident.
Saryu
has
incident.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Modi.
They did not take food.
Today,
So that was
you
the
go
kind of
to
sentiment.
any part of the
I
country,
do not think a crowd of this nature
basic
would
needs
have
of
been
the
handled in the manner. I
everybody,
mean,
4
calling
crore
military,
homes.
of course, is
Imagine
an
4
option.
crore
But
homes
that
being
option
built.
would have meant thousands, maybe
particularly in the rural
not
areas,
there,
more
may
so.
not live.
Just in
So
Rajasthan,
the option was
alone,
very
nearly
clear
19
for
lakh
the chief minister now
poor
to
families
accept what
have
was
got a
happening.
free home.
The
Only in Rajasthan.
police force
Now,
in
19
both the
lakh is almost a
incidents,
crore
when
of people.
Mulayam Singh ji was chief
That's,
minister and when Kalyan Singh ji was chief
population
minister,
of
the police was
1/10 the population.
terribly
Yeah.
disturbed,
They've got a
divided.
home, a new life.
Some, of course,
Wo
you know,
parivar
that
mein
it's an
bas
order,
bas
it's a duty,
transformational.
have to do, will do.
I went to
Some who were
a
saving
village,
the media, saving the car
Grampachayat
sevaks,
called Kathwadi.
doing things which
It's,
were probably not
not
their
an
order
order,
but
but
going
it's
beyond the
right
call
from
of duty.
Jaipur, Arun.
How was the IAS? You're from the IAS. How
an
was the
Adivasi.
IAS dealing in both the incidents?
And I was walking
Second
around
time,
the
of course,
village
I was not
and
there
went to
because I
a
was transferred.
Adivasi.
But first time, I do recall
She had, the lady met me
that
there
when
with
the
the children, and then her husband also came.
secretariat employees
The lady is a
during
worker
lunch hour
in
were
some
protesting
projects. Mazduri karti hai.
and they were
Her husband is
demanding
a
that
Divyang,
the temple
physically
should be
challenged
constructed there
She had 8
and the
girls,
government should not be
the eldest
so
of whom had done an
aggressive
MA.
against
Because of the
agitators.
scholarship that the government sends into her bank account directly.
A
or
very strong group of
facilities
IAS
that they
officers
receive. She had a new
wanted